Ah, yeah. Chasing music. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show Live. Viewers, comments and questions. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello.
We do have some housekeeping to get through first of all.
Do we?
Well, yeah, just some quick stuff. But it's our first proper live show in a few weeks.
I know.
We've had some internet debacle, but we should be, with fingers crossed, it all looks good for today.
Yes, hopefully the internet will work today. We're also reinstating the podcast for those of you who like the podcast. So welcome to podcast listeners again.
Yes.
We're going to do it patrons only.
Yes, for our lovely patrons.
Yes, so A is to say thank you to patrons. B, it makes the distribution and everything easy. And C, well, CA.
Very good, very good.
However, the other thing we're doing for patrons is a regular giveaway. Monthly, we're giving away, some of our personal pedals, some of the stuff that we've been sent with the blessing of the manufacturers, and we just did our first one. So congratulations to Ben from San Francisco, who won the Benson preamp.
Indeed.
Ben Benson.
Very good.
Yes.
Well done, Ben. Yeah, so there we go. There was something else.
Yeah, the next giveaway.
The next giveaway.
Yeah.
Which is happening.
If you were an active patron on the 1st of March, and you've checked your email and you've been sent a link, the next giveaway is a Fender Lost Highway phaser. So you've got until tomorrow, I think, to enter for that. So please make sure you do. Ends GMT midnight, Tuesday, 8th of March, if you were an active patron on the 1st of March. If you joined after that, you'll be in the hat for the next one.
Very good.
It's a bit like Monty Python and the peg and the brother going home and all of that.
The peg and the brother going home?
Meaning of life?
Oh, yes. Okay.
If you are going home this weekend, remember to move your brother's bag to the upper peg. Write your letter home to your mother. Who's been rubbing linseed oil into the school cormorant?
Oh, very good. Very good.
Anyway, massive thanks to Fender and indeed to Benson for allowing us to give that stuff away.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got some...
Actually, no, the Benson was mine. That was
yours.
mine.
Yeah. I just also wanted to start the show, just by acknowledging a friend who passed away. So some of the viewers will know that we've been using a Wallace app on the show in recent months. A gentleman got in touch. He said he was a fan of the show and he's got something that he would like to give Mick and myself. And I said, well, that's very kind of you. He said, yes. He said, I've got terminal cancer and I really love you guys and I would love you to have it. So I went down and met a gentleman by the name of John Box. And I hung out with him for the day and he gave us this unbelievable Wallace amp. And I stayed in touch with John. As such a lovely, generous guy. And the weirdest thing was, like, when I first met him, you wouldn't know he was sick.
Right.
He just was, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I'd called him and stuff and I'd said, come up to the studio and, give you a tour and stuff. Anyway, 2 weeks ago, he called and I missed his call. And I texted him back and said, hey man, sorry I missed your call. We're flat out at the moment. I'll give you a call on Monday. Monday came around. I didn't call him. I was so busy. Didn't call him back till a couple of days later. And I got a message from his wife saying
he's gone.
So anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that really, really lovely guy and thanks, John.
Rest easy, John. Thank you.
Sorry to start on a downer.
It's not a downer.
It's, you know,
It's not a downer. It's a celebration of life, Dan.
it was. It was a lovely service today, actually. It was packed. It's packed. Loads of people coming up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, there
Good
you
on
go.
him. We'll use the Wallace and the other stuff he left to us, or he gave us actually before he passed, with great pride
Yeah.
and thanks.
Yeah.
So good on you, John. Okay. Yes, we weren't here last week. What's happened?
So much has happened.
Apart from the obvious, we're not talking about that.
Indeed. Yeah, it's been a week.
Let's do a quick roll call then. Shall
Yes,
we see
indeed.
who's on?
Indeed.
We'll see who's on. We'll see who's on.
Matt Lloyd, g'day mate.
Hello, Matt.
Connor Doherty, evening from the frozen Scotland.
Ah, it's pretty cold here.
Yeah.
Not as cold as Scotland, obviously. Sorry to all the Scots. I think it's from a film in it, Scotland. Right, come on, feed. Where are you? There you are. Ben McGinty, hello from Glasgow.
Hey Ben, Stanislav Migra says, Red is back. Hello from Slovakia.
Lots of nice comments about Red, actually, from Friday's video. Dan's been playing Red again.
I have. I've been enjoying the visceral sensation.
Yeah, I have a theory.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. If you make something more louder, more bassier, and more treblier,
Right.
people think it's better.
Okay.
I think it's simple as that.
Okay.
I think volume and treble and bass makes people happy.
Makes me happy.
I'm not saying it doesn't sound great. It sounds flipping stonking, but it is louder, treblier, and bassier than anything else we own.
No,
And of
I'm
course,
reconnecting with it again.
When I'm doing the audio, when I'm mixing the audio, I have to make sure that Dan's guitar is at a sensible level, which makes all the other guitars sound really weird.
Does it present problems?
Oh, massively.
Oh, man.
You should
okay.
sit with me and do an audio edit one day. So when we do the sound check, I say to Dan, go on then play, hit it, and he's like, "Meh." And then about 2 minutes into the show, you'll go boink, and off we'll go off the top of the meters. The good news is with modern digital recording, I've since learned you can run it much cooler and give yourself plenty of headroom.
Okay.
And yeah, you don't have
People tell me that, but I still don't like doing it.
I don't like doing it either. But you do. What the other thing, sorry, massive tangent, let's do this. I want to give a shout out to the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast, which is by Skip Simmons and Jason Verlind of Fretboard Journal. Plenty of you will listen to it and you'll know it well. I've listened to a couple of episodes, but I had a really long drive yesterday. More information on which soon. And I listened to about 10 hours of the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast, and it is fantastic.
Wow.
It is utterly fantastic. So massive props to those guys. And it, in fact, fueled the desire to get the podcast up and running again. Just love the medium. Anyway, Jason, Skip, you'll never see this, but your work is sterlingly appreciated out here in trying to listen to something that isn't depressing and is genuinely uplifting and useful.
Awesome.
They talk about food.
Right.
They talk about beer.
Nice.
They talk about all kinds of stuff. And
You had me at food and beer.
somewhere in there, they also talk about amps. And Skip is so, he knows everything.
Right, okay.
But he's so straight about everything.
Okay.
So some dude will question in and he'll say, I've got this actual genuine 58 Bassman that I found.
Right.
And I think it needs new pots, and I think it needs this, and it's that. I've built 3 amps and I've worked on about 7 or 8, and Skip's like, don't do it. You don't know enough
Right.
to do this.
Okay.
With the greatest of respect,
Right.
don't do it.
Awesome.
And it's just, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So why were we talking about that? Tangents. We were on a tangent, and then that became another tangent. Anyway. Good. Ainsley Lister is coming down on the 22nd to do some filming. Be
Awesome.
BV, thank you so much.
Yes, BV.
Keeping us
Thank
up
you,
to date
buddy.
with what's going on. He's saying, please keep an eye on Super Chats. There is a ton already.
Okay. We want to get out of here on time today. We're filming tomorrow. We've got a big day planned for tomorrow.
I am going to stop the super chats now.
Okay, really, we're there flipping out.
Yeah, going to stop the super chats now. Thanks, BV.
10 minutes in. Boy, oh boy.
Right, if you've super chatted so far, thank you. We will answer you today. If for anyone else, we're going to turn it off now, just because we've got so many to get through. It is now off.
Now we'll have to do one night. We'll have to do a mammoth VCQ session, set up with sleeping bags in here with a couple of beers.
All night.
And do an all-nighter.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant fun.
That's a flipping great idea.
I was due.
That is a splendid idea, Daniel. Right. Let's get into it then.
Indeed.
That's a really great idea, Dan.
Yeah, it'd be great fun. Eric Coob says, greetings from Atlanta, gents. Have you been to Atlanta?
I have not. Georgia, right?
Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want to get
Isn't
back
that
to
where
America.
Peter Stroud's from? Anyway. Hi, DNM, says Plexico. First with the big super chat bucks, he says. Love you and BB Ninja. Thank you very much, Duncan. That's really super kind.
Thank you, mate.
Plexico is always first in.
That's so kind, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank
We
you, mate.
appreciate it. Bobby Dorrance. Hi, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
So he says, Bobby Dorrance says, I've got a clean amp, or let's say you have a clean amp on 4 with a low gain overdrive
Yep.
versus edge of breakup with the amp on 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? They seem to be accomplishing the same thing. How do you decide when to add a pedal versus tuning the amp to its point of overdrive? Fantastic question.
Yep. Fantastic question. And it's this simple. That edge of breakup sound that you get from your amplifier, if that gives you everything you need and you're happy to control the gain from the volume of your guitar and maybe boost into it a little bit, if that's giving you everything you need, awesome. Happy days. The advantage to having a cleaner amp with a pedal going into it is the headroom that clean amp has. Gives you a lot more options when it comes to different sounds. For me, because I use a lot of modulation, I love delays and reverbs, so I need to have that headroom there. But I'll use, the Page is, a main overdrive I use, with the gain cranked on it. It's still a mild overdrive, but it's very valvey and, into the matchless and stuff. Sounds amazing. As opposed to if I was after more straight ahead tones, then, an amp on the edge of breakup that I could simply control with the volume of my guitar. If they gave me everything I needed, great. It's just, for me, the cleaner amp just gives me more things to work with.
Yeah, I think just pulling back a little bit from there, you've got 2 things to think about. One is, 3 probably. The first and most obvious is volume. So Dan and I have made a new acquisition. It is this Fender Custom Shop Bass Breaker amplifier, which is
Check it out!
a special edition thing from the early 2000s. It's a 59 bassman amp, but with 2 12s. And I saw it on reverb.com. A very nice guy called Dave up north. I went on a mammoth journey yesterday.
Sorry, it's very unprofessional. Leave my keys on the app.
Oh, I see. Mammoth journey yesterday to go and collect it. Along with, interestingly enough, a BK Butler thingy. So it was a bit of safari.
How'd you like them apples?
Go that way, Dan.
Where's the cable?
There it
no,
is.
it's there. Not that long, not that far.
Anyway,
Come on. You can focus. There you go. Look at that. And it's got that jobby. And check this out. On the back, if I can focus, come on, he scratched his name in it.
I did some research. It's very confusing because there have been at least four different types over the years. Apparently that's one of the newer ones he's making. I have emailed him. Actually, assuming that he is still with us. I hope indeed that he is. His webpage is up.
Okay.
And says he's still taking orders for newly built ones. Anyway, way too much tangent, given that we've got 58 million super chats to get through. So the thing with the Bassman, I plugged it in today. I'm not sure you've ever heard a Bassman cranked before, have you?
No.
No. So I've listened to this, Dan. He's like, oh, I like that. Cranked it. He's like, oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Really spectacular sound. But of course, in order to get to that point, to finally answer your question, Bobby, it's way too loud for most people in most situations. So the pedal enables you to get a bit of low gain overdrive at a much lower volume. Now, you could achieve that using an attenuator. Really difficult with the Bassman because there's 2 ohms. There aren't many attenuators that can deal with that. Load box, you know, there are other ways you can deal with it, but the easiest one is just run the amp not quite so loud and use a pedal to get your breakup. So I think that's how most people got into pedals. They couldn't crank their amps anymore. Secondly, let's say when the amp is into its little bit of overdrive there, right on the edge, you don't really like it, or it's not as, or you do like it, but actually you'd like a different option as well. I think that's where the pedal comes in. It's like not all breakup is the same. So it might be that you want a bit of EQ on it. You might want a different level of compression in the overdrive. You might want it to feel and react differently. So it's not like all low gain overdrive is the same. Therefore, to use your example, you know, the amp on 4 plus pedal or the amp on 5 gets the same result. Those two things could be radically different.
Yeah, and it's a sliding scale as well.
Yeah.
It's not like you've got one clean amp and a dirty amp and nothing in between. There's a whole plethora of things happening between the clean and that crunchy thing.
Yeah, definitely what came through in the comments on the video over the weekend was that there seemed to be a great many people out there very romantically attached to this idea that a guitar cable amp cranked is some sort of noble place to be, and it is. I mean, it's how rock and roll was created, plus really great mics, really great mic pre's, really great desks, tape, compression. So it's part of how rock and roll was created, and we're all very emotionally attached to it in that respect. But it's not practical.
Indeed. For a lot of people.
In every situation.
Yeah, of course.
But that's why you have a Princeton, a Deluxe, and a Bassman.
Right.
Because they're going to do the same thing. This one's going to do it at 85 dB, this one's going to do it at 95 dB, and this one's going to do it at 105 dB, which is a vertical curve of volume. So,
yeah. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've got to the point where, as much as we love the sound of an amp right on the edge, we also love the sound of an amp right on the edge, plus a bit of push from a pedal.
Yeah, yeah.
And we also love the sound of an amp right on the edge, plus a fuzz absolutely destroying it. So it's, you know, loads, 50 shades of gain, isn't it?
Indeed.
That's what it is. That's
Indeed.
what it is.
Indeed.
If we spend that long on every question, Dan, we'll be here until Thursday.
Brilliant.
Hey, Chuck Pops Partington. Hi, Chuck. He says, howdy, gents. I've got a question concerning Wet Dry Wet recording into a digital audio workstation. All 3 amps do have direct capability, but YouTube searches reveal nothing. I'm using a Marshall DSL-20 head and cab for the dry, Harmony H620s as the wet stereo pair.
What's the question?
The question is, how does he do it?
Well, you need 3 separate inputs for them to go into. And you need to be careful about earth loops and things. So ideally, you only want to have one path to earth from your amp. So 2 of those need to be, should be isolated ideally. And so, yeah, those 3 go into 3 inputs of your digital audio workstation.
Yeah, I refrained from saying DAW in case anyone didn't know what that means, but that's what it means, DAW.
And then have at it. It's really interesting. So I'm touching on this and doing a vlog on reamping because I've just done some for my EP, which was flippin' fascinating. I used this 2 notes thing that was just brilliant. The best thing about it was that you would plug I recorded this track straight in on a demo. and I just happened to jag this solo. It was like out of nowhere, and it was like just fell out of my fingers on the demo. I think it was.
What does jag mean?
It just I fluked it,
Right.
right?
I'd quite like a jag.
And I don't think. And anyway, I couldn't play it again, right?
Right.
And it was going into my page, and that was going into the into my Apollo, or the Universal Audio thing. And I'm like, okay, that's the solo, but I didn't like the sound. What do I do? So I took all the gubbins off, all the speaker simulators and emulators and stuff, and I took a signal out of that and plugged it into my amplifier. The issue I had was I couldn't tell how much signal I needed out from the workstation. The Two Notes have got this thing that you go from the workstation into this, and from that into the amplifier. You plug your guitar into the Two Notes thing and you play, and it tells you the level. You can adjust the level and get it matching the guitar.
So yeah.
And brilliant. And so I had the laser J into the Grossman cab and just cranked the J, and then all the stuff's like, sounds flippin' fantastic.
Sounds great, yeah.
Really
reamped,
great.
Yeah. To save yourself all that trouble, Chuck, you've got two options for recording your thing. You can either mic it up using a stereo pair. So if you want to capture the sound of the whole thing, given that you've got wet, dry, wet and stereo, you need at least two mics. So you could do a stereo pair and just pan them hard right, hard left and record those two, or probably better, to either stick a mic on each amp, put the wet one straight down the middle and the two wet ones left and right when you record them, and that will give you really nice options for mixing once they're recorded.
Yeah.
Or you can do exactly the same thing with direct outs from each. Just record them to 3 separate channels, pan the dry one straight down the middle, the wet ones hard left and right, or 3/4 left and right, you'll be able to hear. Also, just do double check the phase in the recording, and that'll be a simple matter of, once you've got your 3 tracks recorded, select 2 of them, and somewhere in your DAW you'll have a phase reverse option. You might need to put something like a gain plugin on, so that you'll need to be able to flip the phase in one of the channels. If you listen to 2 of the tracks and flip the phase on one of them, you will hear immediately which is in and out of phase in your headphones. Once you've got those 2 in phase, do that with the 3rd one, and just to double check that you are definitely in phase, and then you can mix and EQ and do whatever else you want to taste.
Yep.
Might be that you want to add additional effects to the 2 wet ones, even more reverb or something, and keep the dry one punching straight down the middle. But that's how you do it, and yeah, cool, enjoy.
Indeed.
Chris Norman. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Evening, Legends. He says, a new guitar day for me, Gretsch G2655. I've gone semi-hollow after years of Fenders. Beautifully made and sounds epic.
Yeah.
Sounds
Lovely.
safe, everyone. Nice one, Chris. Hope you enjoyed that.
Yep. Now, what I love about semi-hollows is that, 6:30 in the morning, you get up, grab a cup of tea, you sit down, and you just have 10 minutes just playing acoustically.
You don't have to plug it in.
You don't have to. They're so rewarding.
I like semi-hollows because they totally debunk the myth that it's only the pickups that make any difference in a guitar. And if you want proof of that, get your favourite pair of 1959 PAFs, put them in your Gibson ES335, turn your amp up really loud, and hold a few notes and walk around the room. Do exactly the same with the Les Paul, making sure that the distance from the string and everything else is exactly the same, and I absolutely guarantee you the sound will not be the same. It will be so radically different you won't believe it, especially in the way that it feeds back. That's why I love semi-hollow guitars.
Indeed.
Because they debug the myth. Where did that myth come from? Anyway, carrying on. Whit Anderson. Whit,
Woo.
I'm super jealous of you, it must be said. Because he says, greetings from Hopewell, New Jersey. I just got back from Nashville.
Jealous already?
I failed in stalking Tom Bookerback for you. That is a disappointment, to be honest. I want you like walking outside of every house in Nashville with a TPS banner. We love you, Tom.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
Anyway, he went to the Gibson garage. Oh, that's cool. They put a lot of effort into that. To check out the Murphy Lab stuff, and I'm blaming Mick.
Oh, wow.
I returned with a Pelham blue 64 SG.
No way. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Andersons have got 2 in at the moment, but they are like insane money.
Really?
One of them starts with a 6.
Oh jeez.
And that's not 600 people. That's 6 big ones.
6 big uns.
What is that, 6 million?
Lira.
Trio Life. Hello from Connecticut, USA. Hello to Connecticut. Always a pleasure. Either of you play other instruments or dabble with slide guitar?
I used to dabble in my early days. Then I heard Joey, and I haven't touched the slide since. But I'm like who doesn't when they first hear a slide go, oh, that's easy, yeah. It's really fun.
I try every now and again, but it's like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, one of the shows we're gonna film tomorrow is on tuning, which sounds really boring, but not on tuners, by the way, on tuning. Obviously, tuners are involved in tuning, but they're a long way from the whole story. Anyway, one of the things that Dan and I share is a medium, about a 70% interest in being in tune. I was trying to define the scales there. Because I was going to say we both really like being in tune and we both get very upset when we're not in tune. But I can think of countless examples on TPS where one of us is bending a neck of a guitar to try and get it somewhere near in tune. And people with perfect pitch will be laughing their... Well, they don't laugh. They cry most of the time, people with perfect pitch. But they'll be laughing their metaphorical ears off with the idea that either me or him is interested in tuning. However, we are interested in tuning. And the reason I don't play slide guitar is because it is so horrifically out of tune for 80% of the time.
I was at a gig in Brisbane once and I saw a bass player who was so drunk he had to be picked up off the floor by his friends and sort of propped up on stage and just play a fretless bass.
Nice.
Right? The guy couldn't talk. Played perfectly in tune the whole night. It was eerie. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's a special skill, all of that. And certainly, hats off to orchestral players, violins, violas and cellos and whatever the other ones are.
Yep. With that, okay, here's a quick question for everyone, because I've been doing a bit of research into the Touch Anything. Without Googling, you're not allowed to Google this. What is the instrument in the orchestra that everyone tunes to?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Let's see. First one to get it.
See who knows.
What's the instrument in the orchestra that everyone tunes to? Do not Google. Do not Google.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's really interesting. Okay.
I'm just seeing who's going to come in with it.
I'll see who comes in with it.
It'll be 30 seconds before it comes in. Anyway, so yeah, no, other instruments, we both sing. We both like singing.
Scott McPhee, straight in. Oboe, well done.
Good on you, Scott.
Well done, Scott.
Yeah. I tried to play piano, tried to play drums, hopeless at both. But do enjoy singing. Both Dan and I enjoy singing very much.
My biggest regret is not learning piano.
Yeah. Well,
I have other regrets, but one of my large regrets.
You could totally learn piano.
I could totally learn, but it would have been, considering that I get so much joy out of harmony. Having learnt, if I had learnt piano, all because I had a bad experience with a piano teacher.
Right.
She sat down and because I was playing guitar at the time, and she just assumed I didn't want to learn piano. She's like, "You're not into this at all, are you?" And I just went, "All right, if you're going to be like that about it." Yeah. And yeah, it's like, I didn't follow it up after that. And my sisters both play piano. My favourite guitar players all play piano. And it just, for harmony, would have been so helpful. I might get Jack to sort me out.
He should give you that lesson he gave me, and we should film it.
Okay.
Because it is truly revelatory.
Right.
I still can't play the piano. Right, come on, let's move along then. Wastel 10. Or Wastel 10. Wastel 10. Hi guys. Why does my self-assembled Cheapercaster a Chinese full maple neck, €35 loaded pickguard, €35 old Harley Benton body. Feel and sound better than my other guitars, including a Squire Strat Epiphone LP and Ibanez SZ520 QM. What does QM stand for?
Queasy man.
Quilted maple, Dan.
Quilted maple.
It could be a number of things going on. Number one, it might sound better. And you like it. And for whatever reason, it just rings together and you do prefer it.
You can have two guitars made at the factory from the same bits of wood. And one will come out and it's okay, and the other one will come out and it's awesome. Had this conversation with Carl Longbottom not long ago. Carl is a master carpenter. He knows wood as well as any man does, person does. And he says, and he makes these beautiful guitars. And he says, you just don't know. Until it's together,
You don't know.
you don't know.
One thing I've noticed about my new Gold Strat is that it resonates. Forget the conversation about whether it makes any difference plugged in or not. Just forget that. Not plugged in, sat there playing. It resonates louder, longer, brighter, bassier, more middly than the blue guitar.
See, to me, gold sits in the same area as red.
Yeah, it's a phenomenally resonant
It
guitar.
is unreal.
Now-
I can hear you play it. I can pick that guitar up just acoustically, and it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
punchy as you like.
So Bill Collings, may he rest in peace, who I'm lucky enough to have spent a fair bit of time with. He told me, I mean, he didn't just tell me, he tells everyone, but he told me that he tries to get as much mass into the neck of a guitar as possible.
Wow.
So much so that there are, I don't know if they still do it, they used to put steel rods either side of the truss rod to get mass into the neck of a guitar
That's really interesting.
and make the body as light as possible.
But you're doing that all the time, aren't you?
Well, I don't think he's not like talking like osmium there and feathers
balsa wood
here.
there, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But and that would give an acoustic guitar anyway really, really great resonance. And
That's so
I
interesting.
think it's true. You know, people always talk about bodies. They talk about pickups. They talk about bridges. Not everyone talks about the neck and getting mass into that neck. And I do think there's something about quarter sawn and all of that. Even though all the best Fenders, vintage Fenders, weren't quarter sawn. So it could be that the resonance of the guitar itself is resonating against your body in a way that you really like.
Yeah.
And you're feeling it. Could also be, I had a 10-hour drive yesterday, and before I put on the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast, I did listen to a couple of hours of a book I'm trying to get through at the moment on motivated reasoning. And
wow.
it is about all the various types of biases that we introduce into situations perfectly naturally. I don't like the term human nature, but anyway, it's pretty common among most humans. In fact, it's what we all do all the time, is motivated reasoning. And it could be that you just put so much effort and love into that guitar, you're motivated to like it more. Could be that. Could be predominantly psychological.
Yeah.
And I would like to finish that point by saying that is not a pejorative observation. It is most of the reason most of us like most things. The
Sure.
idea that humans are objective is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
When I bought the 65, and it's a beautiful guitar and I love it dearly, but I was so overwhelmed about owning this lovely vintage instrument
yeah.
that I didn't think about red for months. And I remember, you know, with the scratchy pot and stuff, and the pickup select was a bit, anyway, picked up red as like, oh man, this guitar is flipping amazing.
Yeah.
And not, you know, I still love the 65, but it's like, because I was so overwhelmed with it's like my life goal, you know, having this guitar.
Yeah.
And I approached it differently. I thought about it differently.
So
you know?
as a former guitar journalist, I've learnt a lot about how to mentor that, get that out of the equation
That's amazing.
early doors. I'm not saying
Right.
I can completely get it out, but I can certainly approach it from a slightly more objective standpoint. But it's not very long before you're straight back into motivated reasoning again.
Yeah.
The reason I'm reading about motivated reasoning is because I'm phenomenally interested in how to mitigate it somewhat. more on that.
Interesting.
In due course.
Thomas Baran says it's physics. Mass and density is what contributes to great resonance and counteracts the string vibrations. Love the big stiff necks, therefore. Interesting. There you go.
Yeah, and I remember Jerry Donahue saying on a TV documentary once that, you know, if the I don't know whether you'd call it a resonant peak or the core resonant frequency of this piece of wood is C sharp, or a bunch of frequencies that are in harmony with C sharp, and the body's C.
Yeah, totally.
It's not going to. I don't know if that's true. It would be good to put that to a test one day, but yeah. Anyway,
I remember Jerry Donahue saying to me, "Get out of here, man."
Trevor Hart says, on the other hand, Mick, if your guitar is actually out of tune, you can make it play in tune by using a slide. Guthrie Govan can.
He really can.
There's a good video on that.
If go and check it, I'm not sure exactly what the search term is. I'll find out because we're going to link it in the video that we do tomorrow. Guthrie is playing with
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer. And in the middle of a solo, he breaks a string, and of course Guthrie's got a floating trem, and it pulls the whole guitar sharp. And he whips this slide out and finishes the solo playing slide. And you got to look to see him do it. You know, he's just so. Oh man, he's so on it, that guy. Yeah, fascinating.
BV Ninja saying cognitive biases. Yeah, I'm down the rabbit hole deeply on it. Right.
Rod Clark says the Bonamaster swears £9 is the magic number for Les Pauls. He says 2 light is no good. £9 is the magic number.
Yes, it is. Do, 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 do. Is that one? Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
Is it the Steely Dan tune?
No, that's the magic numbers, isn't it? Oh, I don't know.
No. But don't they sample that? They probably.
Oh, do they?
It sounds like it's capoed.
Right.
Doesn't sound like it's in the original position.
The original position.
Is it?
I don't know.
Isn't it that? But it sounds like it's probably here somewhere. No, not that high. Maybe here.
Oh, okay, nice. I don't know.
Is that from Room 325 or something?
Probably.
I don't know. Anyway, 3 is the magic number. Unless it's guitar strings, then it's 6.
Cameron Scott kindly says, yes, Steely Dan.
Thank you.
There, thank you. Very good.
Right, come on.
Beefy Ninja says, Joe is wrong, it's 8.5 and I've told him that. Very good. Flap Amsey says, Peg,
come back to me. Peg. Is that Michael McDonald singing on that? Yeah.
Yes. Of course it is.
You're to be created. Josh says,
Oh my goodness.
I love my t-shirt from the Lucky Dip. Josh, thank you for buying
Thank you,
a
Josh.
Lucky Dip t-shirt.
Thank you, mate.
Hayden and Catherine had a monster day packing all those up and getting them sent out. I've recently realised a lot of my favourite sounds are brown Fenders. Could that be a future episode? Also, Mick, any update on an SG? Interestingly enough, on the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast yesterday, they were talking, or one of the episodes I listened to, they were talking a lot about tweed, brown, black.
Okay.
And how the brown Fenders that were around, 61, 62-ish. Do you remember the Super that Joey brought in?
Yes. Never forget that.
Was a real evolutionary step between the tweed and the black panel amps.
Okay.
And stuff like the transition from cathode bias to fixed bias.
Okay.
And some other things. And anyway, yeah, wonderful things. Just so rare, though. I mean, trying to find those things.
Because they didn't make them very long, right?
No. only for a couple of years. Yeah. Nice. Mick, any update on SG? No. I've got, bizarrely, 2 opportunities have fallen into my lap re-guitars, which is going to be
Don't tell anyone.
literally all the money I've got and some that I'm going to have to scrape together, maybe by selling some stuff. So keep an eye on that Pedal Show store. It's not a like pre-CBS Strat or anything. So for anyone invested in that on my behalf, A, thank you. B, don't get excited. But there's a couple of other things that might be on the horizon. So SG's gone to the back of the queue for a moment, but I still do Google Pelham Blue 64 style SGs almost daily.
Yeah.
Andrew McNeil. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
Good morning, gents. It's a new to me amp day.
New
This
to me
weekend-
are everything. Sorry.
He says, I've got a 1982 JCM 800 combo with a 13-inch vintage 30. Do you mean
13-inch?
12-inch, maybe? My first real Marshall. Also got a ZVEX box of rock. I'm blown away. The touch
man.
dynamics. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well
Oh,
done.
cool.
That's killer.
Congrats on the JCM 800 as well. I don't know if it's a 50 or 100. Either way, you're gonna love that thing. If you can possibly get it cranked up, please do so. It's a marvelous noise.
Yeah. Very, very special amps.
Yeah. LC Vol 73 says, I decided to sell my Princeton Reverb reissue with Celestian Gold, sad face, and bought a Tone King Imperial Mark II.
Oh, wow. Happy
face.
face. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. The Princeton had its thing, but the Tone King is just glorious.
It's a very, very special amp. No question.
I mean, you've said it all. The Princeton's got its thing,
Does have its thing.
and nothing else does it like the
No.
Princeton. But the Tone King's like,
You can just do so much with a Tone King.
yeah,
You know.
that amp. It sounds bigger,
Yeah.
and for those of you who like a bigger noise, yeah, nice. BE amigos, he says. I have a deluxe reverb, but I want a lower wattage amp. What are your thoughts on a Princeton or a Vibrachamp, or do I just go for a V40 Deluxe and have 2 amps in one?
There are no bad answers there. They're
Yeah.
all really great. It's more about identifying what you want out of the low wattage amp, because don't think that it's going to be quiet. I think a lot of people say, they've got a 30 watt amplifier. I'll get a 10 watt amp, and they think it's going to mean they can crank the amp at home.
Yeah.
Doesn't. Man, 10 watt amps are loud. 1 watt amp with an efficient speaker can be flipping loud.
Oh yeah, you could easily do 100 dB on that.
Easy. So it's more about identifying the role that what you're hoping to do with the amp.
Yeah, if you use the deluxe reverb, let's say in that magic spot between, depends on the particular deluxe reverb you have. Ours doesn't overdrive till about 5. I know plenty that are well into overdrive by 3.5. So let's say you're about that loud, and for argument's sake, 4 is the right volume for you, but it's just not overdriving enough. Princeton will probably do the job.
Right.
Because at that same volume, it will be overdriving quite a bit more.
Yep.
But be in no doubt that volume is, well, certainly too much for my home. And I live in a castle with no neighbour. I don't live in a castle, and I do have neighbours. It would certainly be too much for my home. But yeah, something like a Vibrachamp, keep going down. Much better in terms of slightly lower volume and really fantastic overdrive. The only thing about small amps, Vibrachamps especially, I mean, it is a sound and it's a wonderful sound. What you will lose over the deluxe reverb is that lovely big room-filling, clean, headroomy bass. You lose all of that in something like a Vibrachamp when it's cranked. So, give and take, I actually think if you like the basic sort of structure of the V40, of the deluxe reverb, and you like the way it sounds nice and big and has plenty of bottom end, and the reverb is lovely and spacious and all of that, which it is, something like a V40 Deluxe would be a much better option for you, because you can crank it, use the master volume, put it on half power, and get the crank tones at lower volume. I personally think that would be a better choice. If you don't like the bigness of the deluxe reverb and you do want something more small amp voiced,
If the reason you want to get a small amp is because of that. Yeah.
then go that way. So, and also it's a lot of money, but Tone King Imperial Mark II does all of the above as well.
Yeah.
Because it's got a built-in attenuator. It is a flipping fantastic amp.
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
V40 Deluxe, wonderful amp. Yeah.
Awesome.
Andrew McNeil again. He said,
Hello,
also, I got my first telly, a 2020 made in Mexico Players Sunburst. It's great. Any suggestions for replacing the bridge pickup? Also, I'm thinking about traditional saddles.
Oh, man. Pickups are hard.
You need to decide what you want.
Yeah.
What is it not doing that you want it to do, and go from there.
Yeah. I have tried, this is the original pickup that came in this guitar, right? And I must have tried. I know everyone, when I say I tried 20 different pickups in this guitar, I'm not lying. I tried 20 different pickups in this guitar. A friend of mine,
But are you telling the truth, Daniel?
maybe more. And that was over a couple of years. And I was gigging like 4 or 5 nights a week, right? So I was able to try them out at gigs.
In the context.
And
yeah.
that's where it was like I kept coming back to this. It was like I'd have them at home and go, yeah, man, that sounds great. It's fat. I'd go to the gig. It's like, there's something just isn't right here. And I kept coming back to this. And it just got to a point. It's like, I just got to leave it, because this just sounds better than anything else. Now, as is, everyone can hear when I record with this guitar on the show, this guitar has so much bite to it. But in a band context, this is why it's always won. Now, it might be that if I wasn't playing in the band, I was at home, listening to this, I might go, you know what, that's a little bit harsh in my ear.
Yeah.
I want to soften that out a little bit.
Definitely having that experience with pickups in the Strats.
So it is just about identifying what you want it to do.
It's the race car to go to Sainsbury's analogy, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
if I stiffen my suspension up and tune my Chevette to have 600 horsepower and go on rails, it's going to be really uncomfortable to go to the store to buy Nutella.
Yep.
But,
so I've got to a point now that if I buy a guitar now, it's got to be done. I've got to pick it up and not want to change things about it.
Yeah.
Unless it comes as just a body without any pickups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Barron says, I recently stopped messing about with pickups, but started to learn to love those that I have. To learn those that I have. That opened my mind to sound in a different way and allowed me to focus on playing. Also, pickup height.
Yep.
Thomas, I'm coming to the same conclusion. I mean, I think in general, which is always problematic, but in general, your cheap factory, certainly, Chinese made, cheapo in budget guitar pickups notice I'm saying in general and tend, for me, if you replace those with something higher end, the difference is usually significant.
Right.
And look at the wiring, the pots and the caps and everything. Is usually a significant improvement in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you get to, is it Lola, is it Bare Knuckle, is it Ron Ellis, is it Mark Foley, is it Klopman? At that point, you're talking about, I've gone from my
Asda
comes out of a tap, €1 a litre table wine, which is good stuff if you want to get hammered.
If it does the job you want it to do.
Exactly, and it's good stuff, and I'd never be down on table wine, right? But then, you go to a fancy-ass restaurant and you have something really specific.
Welcome to Fancy House, sir. May I take a coat?
Yeah, or you sit at home and cook yourself something really nice. You may well notice the difference between a really nice Cabernet and a Pinot, or a Carmenere, or whatever it is you want to drink, a really nice Bordeaux or something.
Especially if you use one of those aerators.
Yeah. And I think that's where you are with pickups. It's not like this Bordeaux is the best wine in the world ever.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it works really well with this food, and I like it personally.
Yeah.
But Dave over there, he can't stand the smell of burnt cabbages when you uncork it. So he's not gonna drink it.
Yeah, but he's a pain in the...
He much prefers just a nice peppery Pinot Noir. And that's where we are with pickups. It's like, it's all good. It's just, what do you prefer? What do you personally prefer at this point? Which is why when anyone ever says, what pickups you use, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, I ask people that question all the time. Anyway, right, moving on. Sorry, we could talk for days about this stuff. You know what's great?
Lindy Fowler pickups.
They are great.
They're great.
You know what else is great?
Tell me.
The Truth About Vintage Amps with
Truth
Skip
About
Simmons
Vintage Amp. There you go.
and Jason Verlind. Because old Skip gets... Oh, sorry, I don't know he's old at all. I call him old Skip, but like he's an old friend. Skip gets asked
Old Skip.
questions all the time. He's
Oh,
like,
Skippy.
what
How
shoe-
is he?
What? He's stuck down to mine? We better go and rescue him.
Not that Skip. You know, people say, what tube should I put in my reissue deluxe? And you can hear him sighing, trying to offer an interesting opinion, but yeah. Can you remember the theme tune, Dan? What I want to know, right? Genuine question. Why wasn't he called Hoppy?
Beer.
But kangaroos don't skip, do they?
He was a jaunty kangaroo. He was a little bit of a, hey, come on.
Anyway,
You never run. You never run because runners, if you're in a hurry and you're apparently skipping is the perfect compromise between walking and running.
Right.
Because I've got to get somewhere really quick, but I don't want to look like I'm in a hurry. I skip. So that's what he did. So he's a very cool kangaroo, trying to keep his composure. And he could talk to humans as well.
if you don't know, there was a program.
There was a program.
Was it called
What?
Skippy the Kangaroo?
Skippy the bush kangaroo.
Skippy the Bush Kangaroo?
Yeah.
Not just any old kangaroo?
No. Not one of those city kangaroos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of marsupial-based family viewing, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of pouch anecdotes.
What do you got in there, Skippy? He's like, I'm a boy. He's like, you want to see what I got in here, do you? I'll show you. Have some of this.
Anyway, Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. Oh, Andrew, traditional saddles. We prefer them. We think they look right. And, you know, they're part of the traditional telly recipe. So if you're interested in that, go that way. You can get really, really good compensated ones. So the intonation's pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah. Have fun. The good news is just bits of stuff bolted together. You can bolt other stuff on there, listen to it, and unbolt it again
Indeed.
if you don't love it.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice. And the good news about made in Mexico is it'll all be the same dimensions as USA made ones.
Right.
So you buy parts for... Do double check this, but I think I'm right in saying that if you buy parts for an American guitar, it'll fit a Mexican guitar in most cases, whereas the Japanese parts for Japanese guitars are metric and they don't always fit. So do check that before you buy anything. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. He says, "Hi guys, thoughts on KT66 and KT77 tubes? Cheers from Chicago."
They are part of the picture. They're great. I think what's the Wallace got? I think the Wallace has got KD88s in it. Yeah, big bottle output valves.
Yeah, KT77s, interchangeable with EL34s and 6CA7s.
Right.
Obviously, with the rebiasing. Tonally, I just don't know what the answer is. KT66s, aren't they a replacement for 6L6s? Let's just check that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you've got. It's like, think of an EL84, right? Which is the commonly used in Vox amplifiers, and because they're commonly used in Vox amplifiers, people associate the EL84 valves with chime, and the reality is that there's a whole lot of other things in the amp that contribute to that chime, not the least of which is the Celestion Blue Alnico speakers. But you can take an EL84 and depending on how you design the power stage around it, make it not chimey at all. I remember playing, what was the little... Victory did their little lunchbox heads, and they did one with a single-ended EL84 in it. It's like a little...
Yeah.
And it was just awesome, high gain.
I think it might have had two, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a single-ended thing. Anyway, so you got to be careful associating a certain sound with certain valves. It's all part of the design and what valve is going to work best with that design.
I think I don't know anything about KT77s. I don't know any amps that they came in, and I can't say that I've listened to them enough to know what they sound like. KT66s, I think, weren't they in the first Marshalls before we went to EL34s? Because you could get...
Yes, right.
They've done various amps over the years that use KT66s, and I think I'm right in saying that the Vintage Modern series use them. But they are lower output equivalents to 6L6s, I think. I think you can use them in place of a 6L6 as long as you do the requisite rebiasing. So they'll drop the power of your 6L6 amp a bit, I think.
Right.
That's as much as I know. Do you know, for someone who's quite nerdy about amps, tube amps especially, I've never messed about with valves very much.
Okay.
Done the usual thing of changing out, V1 for something lower gain, whatever that might be, and had to replace tubes in amps, but getting into it in a nerdy way, never really done it. But I think partly out of fear.
Okay.
Not personal health fear, but of going, I can't unhear that.
Right.
Like when you play vintage guitar, you're like, that's it, I'm
sure.
done, I'm ruined. If all I can have is NOS Mullards, then I don't want to play any of my amps anymore.
Yeah. That's another thing, right? AC30 is a really good example. When they made the AC30, the bias resistor was 50 ohms because the valves you would get at that time, the Mullards, would easily work with that sort of, with that resistor. But nowadays, that 50 ohm cathode bias resistor, the modern valves run too hot.
Yeah, so
it needs to be changed to
Popset.
an 80 ohm resistor. But if you've got, in that sense, it makes a massive deal on just what the valves are capable of doing. I remember I had an AC50 when I first started messing around with them, and I changed it from a fixed bias to a cathode bias amp. And I was in our old house in Old Town in Swindon, and I did it all and made it look perfect. And I plugged it in and I was like, it was just the most amazing sound. And even my wife, Martine, walks past and goes, gee, that sounds really good. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. Bang! And I put the output capacitors I put on the output were too small.
Right.
And they just filled up and went bang and exploded. And if anyone's
ever
ever
seen... there was just an explosion outside. Genuinely true.
Sympathetic explosion.
Yeah.
And if anyone's ever seen an electrolytic capacitor explode before, It's like
Goo.
but goo mixed with string mixed with, and it just went everywhere because of course the back of the amp was still off,
Nice.
so it didn't get caught in the amp. It just went everywhere.
Good job you didn't have a pet or a child on the way down.
Indeed.
We should issue a warning at this point. Mike says 5881s are the replacements for 6L6s. Yes, Mike, they are. Thank you for that. And Guitar Tone Pro says, power tubes only start to matter when you're pushing the amp to the point where the power tubes are compressing and limiting. That's a really, really good point. Worry less about components and more about trying different amps. Yeah, I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
Once you start, if you... But then I suppose once you know what an AC30 push sounds like and a Blues Breaker and a Plexi and a Fender Tweed and a Fender Black Panel amp, once you are aware of how those things are and then you want to start tuning from there, maybe that's the time to get into tubes. But
Right.
my life's not long enough for that.
BMO says Skippy the Bush Kangaroo had 3 seasons from 68 to 70.
Three
I
seasons?
cannot believe it's 3 seasons because I watched that. Hey, puppy pup. Hello, beautiful girl. Hello, darling.
Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. Hello, baby
Hey!
dog. Hello, baby dog. That'll be my glasses then. Steady on, Rosie. What are you doing? Come on, let's say hello to the people. Let's say hello to the people, shall we? Come on.
There she is.
I know.
There
I
she
know,
is.
baby.
There she is.
There she is. There she is.
Oh, she's so
I know.
great.
I know. You're excited. There you go. Good girl.
Hey, hang on.
Well, she seems in better mood. She was a little bit under the weather this morning.
Come on up. Come on. Hey, come on. Yeah, we go. There we go.
For those of you, for regular viewers, this is Rosie.
Yes. Hello, darling. Hello.
This is mine and Catherine's dog, and this is a pup date.
I missed you too.
Uncle Dad, where have you been? I've had to be with them.
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, she's back to normal then, Bebbers.
Come on then.
Yeah.
Come on then. Whoa,
Off you go.
Man, she's solid.
Oh, an excellent pup date. Yeah. Anyway, let's move along. Oh, that's good. She was pretty grumpy this morning.
Was she?
Yeah.
Man, Ziggy's so grumpy at the moment.
Jamal Hill Richardson Albini. I wonder if you're related. He says, femurs, fibulas and tibulas.
Leggings.
Leggings.
Very good.
You two advised on a Dirty Shirley to pair with my Les Paul and V140 for Marshall meets Vox. How about a vintage AC50? Do you have any experience? I've played AC30s for years.
Yeah. AC50s are fantastic amps.
Really ace. Really AC50.
They are loud. Big, open, clean, loud. But they're wonderful.
What is it, EL34s?
Yeah. Fixed bias EL34s. Yeah. Brilliant. So I had what year was mine? It was a grey top. And it was, I remember going to pick it up. I was on the way to a gig in Newquay and I stopped in and picked it up. And I had my 50-watt Marshall in the car. And I went and got that amplifier, put the Marshall on, sounded great, put that on, and it was like, it was 50 watts, flipping heck, man. The clean headroom the thing had compared to the Marshall was just outrageous. Yeah, they're great amps.
Yeah, if you're thinking about dropping the kind of money you would need to drop on a vintage AC50, wonderful thing as it is, just bear in mind that it will require some upkeep.
Yeah.
Have a look at the Matchless Chieftain.
Oh, get in.
It's not the same thing, but seeing as you're talking about Marshall meets Vox, and you were thinking about the AC50 and we were talking about the Dirty Shirley, I would seriously check out a Matchless Chieftain, which is easily up there with the best amps I've ever heard, felt, played.
Yep.
So, yeah, just to throw that one in there. And also check out Dr. Z.
Yeah.
Check out Dr. Z's amps. I think, talk about amazing balance of build quality and value for money. Stunning stuff. We are entirely remiss not to have any Z amps.
Yeah.
I think we should fix that.
Oh, I went down to see John Peach at Peach Guitars years ago because I'd heard about the Dr. Z amps and he had a bunch in. And I love the Vox thing. And I was trying them all like, yeah, no, it's good. But then they had the Z50 in there, the big, clean, Fendery thing. Flippin' heck, man.
Lovely amps.
Really great.
Joseph Comstock says, hey, Mick, what kind of dog is Rosie? Rosie is a Sprocker Spaniel. I think in the US they call... Your Cocker Spaniel is the one with the curly ears and sort of more like what we here call a show cocker. And I think what Rosie's... we call them working Cocker Spaniels here. I think in the US they're called Field Spaniels.
Right.
And so it's a Field Spaniel, I think is what you call them in the US. Cocker Spaniel here, working Cocker Spaniel, crossed with a Springer Spaniel. So she is a Sprocker Spaniel. Hello from Gibson Repair in Nashville, says Thomas Schlack. Hello. Nice.
Pelham Blue SG.
That's pretty cool. Gibson Repair in Nashville. That's pretty cool. Is Rick Gembar still there in Custom Shop? I remember a cigar. Nice. Right, we need to move on down.
Okay.
I'm sending this for when I catch you later, says Anthony Barber. Just got a Sheriff 22. Any good pedal suggestions?
Ah, wow. First time I heard a Sheriff 22 was when I was building a board for Graham Coxon, and he was using it to record End of the Effing World, the soundtrack for that.
Yeah.
Far out, man. He was getting some... In his house, he had this really long hallway, and he had it subbed right down the end of the hallway, mic'd up with just some clothes racks sort of in front of it. Unreal.
Nice.
Really, like, recorder tones. Yeah, really great.
I think the advice would be the same as it would be for any amp that's running any significant gain. The Sheriff 22 gets pretty gainy pretty quickly, so if you're running it overdriven, this is just an opinion, but I think it's one that we share. Amps that are overdriving a lot tend to start to become a bit more problematic when we're talking about very coloured compressy overdrives. So things like tube screamers and stuff can work if you turn the gain right down and you get a nice shape out of it. But your average sort of full range, lots of gain overdrive, to us doesn't work as well with a gainy amp as something like a shaping boost.
Yeah.
So treble booster, we're going to do a show on treble boosters tomorrow. Any kind of boost that's got an EQ on it so you can drop that bass off, push the treble more to get a lovely singing kind of sound. Yeah, in our opinion, we would say that, wouldn't we? That boosts and shapers work better into gainy amps than your standard normal overdrive pedal.
Indeed. Yep. Very good.
Good luck. Ranzer, lower appendage extremities.
They're getting better.
Brilliant shows lately, especially the two pedals for Mick. You chose wisely. Thank you. It gets silly, Ran. I did a follow-up where I actually build the board with the pedals I chose. Spoiler alert, it ends up with two entirely different pedals for lots of different reasons. We want to know what would be BV Ninja's signature pedal and how would you name it? Must be an always on, right?
Very good.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent. Steve Mass. Hello, Steve. Thank you for your generosity. He says, I've created a monster. I swapped to a Seymour Duncan Red Devil humbucker in the mid slot of my Nashville Telly. Loses some of the quackiness of the 2 and 4 positions, but fills the ground between Telly and full humbuckers.
Wow.
Seymour Duncan Red Devil. Don't know what that is.
In the middle position. That's really interesting.
Oh, I see. It's Texas hot sauce sizzle of Billy's favourite. And I'm assuming that's either Billy Corgan or Billy Gibbons, one would have thought. Yes, Billy Gibbons. So it's bigger tone than Texas-born Billy Gibbons' 59 Les Paul Pearly Gates. Even though Pearly is his number one, Billy is a man of many guitars, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it's Billy Gibbons' single coil size humbucker.
Very good.
Nice.
Very good.
Good to hear that. Bilal Bira says hi from Istanbul in Turkey.
Wow.
Hello, Bilal.
Hello.
He says, I'm using a collider. When I turn on the reverb side, the sound goes high. How do I keep the volume for the same level?
Oh, I don't. So I don't know if that's in the secondary functions on it. It's in the already on the board next door.
Check. Dan is right. Check the secondary functions. It might be that there is an output level adjuster somewhere in one of the menus somewhere.
Yep. A lot of the source audio stuff. There's apps. They're really super clever pedals.
Yeah.
The Collider being one of our faves, but there's a lot more to it than just what you see on top. So check out the deep edit functions.
There we are. Do that. Also, it could be a buffering issue. If you've got loads and loads and loads of gunk before and after, and you're running loads of cable and loads of other pedals, it might be that when you switch it on, you're introducing a buffer and everything gets bright and loud. That would probably happen in the delay side as well, so it's unlikely, but could be. I know that I've got a couple of delays that when I switch them on, everything goes, hello!
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. I think Dan's probably right. Secondary functions, check that there's no option for increasing the output boost. Chris Smith. Hello, Chris. He says, I stumbled into a glorious, slightly overdriven tone with a Dan drive Aquatus. Fuzz rolled back to 6 and the cleanup on 5. What's the difference between rolling back fuzz on the pedal versus volume on the guitar? What does the cleanup knob do?
I'm assuming the cleanup knob is going to be an inline resistor, a pot voltage divider, but done as an inline resistor. Same as I've got on my Analog Man fuzz face. The difference between using the volume control on the guitar and then the cleanup on the pedal is that you've got however much cable capacitance between the guitar and the pedal, and that has an impact. Also, primarily because by changing the volume here, you're changing the relationship between the pickups and the cable capacitance. Once you get to the pedal, then you don't the volume control or the input gain on the pedal won't do that. But yeah, the relationship between the pickups and the cable capacitance is a really dynamic one. So that's the main difference.
Yeah. Just reading Dan's description of it. AC 127G transistors. So lovely vintage. So the guitar volume cleanup is mostly affected by the bias of your fuzz face style pedal. So depending on how the bias of how those transistors are biased is going to greatly affect what happens when you roll your volume down. Now, of course, I'm sorry if you just said that, I was reading. Pots vary in their values, they vary in their tapers. So it might be that at different points on different pots, it's radically different response. So he's put that extra control on there, which enables you to mitigate some of that. Did you explain about why it goes down on the guitar compared to the fuzz?
Yes.
Good. There we go. I apologise for only being half in the game. Hopefully that answers that, Chris. Nice pedal, by the way. Hope you enjoyed that.
Very nice.
The Studio Rats. No question. Just wanted to say thank you for the awesome content and for keeping us all entertained.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly.
Paul Sonner says, please answer my super chat if you have a chance. It's past 2 a.m. here in Hong Kong already. He's very tired.
What's his name?
Paul Son.
Okay, Paul Son from Hong Kong. Hello, Paul.
Hello,
Thanks
Paul.
for your super chat.
Thank you, mate.
He says, I have a Seriatone OTS-20. It's the discontinued Two-Rock Gainmaster 22
Right.
head a worthwhile upgrade. Both are mini Dumble style amps. Just curious if the Two-Rock is worth the extra dollars. Thanks, gents. I've played the Gainmaster 22. In fact, I think I might have even done a video on it and liked it very much. I've never played the Seriatone, unfortunately, so I can't say.
Seriatone.
Sorry.
No. It's. I've seen loads of Seriatone stuff, and it's obviously good. They're clones and everything. Some of them are like, how do they do that?
What?
they make clones so close
Oh, I
to
see. I
the
don't
real
know.
thing.
Good legal department, maybe.
Right.
Maybe they clone stuff from companies who don't want to sue them. That's usually the best way to do that sort of thing.
Okay.
And if you're not abusing any trademark, then you can't be sued.
Okay.
You can be done for passing off, but that's quite a complex situation. I've been in a few passing off cases in my life.
Right.
But
I mean, but regardless, I know a lot of people who have used their stuff and really liked it.
yeah, I'd be surprised if the Game Master 22 was a massive upgrade on that, because they do make nice stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the Game Master 22 was pretty good. I preferred the 35.
Right. Just the extra love.
Yeah. I think. You'd have to play them. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's not a very helpful answer. You would have to play them.
Yeah.
And decide for yourself, which you might not be able to do, but it's so hard. One person likes one thing, one person likes another thing. Tough to say.
There's some really good music shops in Hong Kong. I haven't been there for a long time. But see if there's anywhere that you can play one. But as Mick said, it's might be tricky. It's the only way to know though.
Jamie T.
Hey Jamie.
Hello, Jamie, and thank you for your generosity, Jamie. That's very kind of you. He says, "Hi, foot phalanges. Big thanks. I've got a 150 watt 2-rock
Flip over there.
silver sterling signature. Yes, you flipping have.
Yep. No question. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, and if you like them apples, I just got a 100 watt traditional clean, each with 212 2-rock cabs. Which would you use as the dirty amp in a wet dry setup? Would it be the Steel String Singer because of the FET? Does wet dry really give a substantially different effect than dual mono? Okay, let's start with the back. If by dual mono what you mean is everything going to both amps, and with wet dry, let's say you've got your harmonic tremolo and chorus going to one amp only, is it dramatically different? It is colossally different.
Colossal.
And the reason it's so different is because, let's say you're using delay, reverb and harmonic tremolo, which is the kind of thing I would use. You can run the delay and the reverb and the harmonic tremolo so much wetter than you would if it was in dual mono if it's only coming out of one amp. And then you can use the other amp to really punch down the middle. And even though we're talking about pseudo left right, but to really punch through. And the difference is phenomenal. It's colossal. You might like it. You might not like it.
I don't know anyone that hasn't heard it and gone, oh my.
I think if you like the effect of stereo effects, for example, then it doesn't work for that. If you really do need your ping pongs.
Yeah, right.
But you're not talking about that. You're talking about dual mono.
Yep.
And you will swear blind that harmonic tremolo is coming out of both amps. You'll literally walk up to the amp, you'll turn one of them off and you'll go, oh, it's actually not.
Right.
Won't you?
Yeah, totally.
It's that 3D.
Yeah.
As for which to run clean and which dirty of those two amps, that is a tough decision. That's like saying, I've got a Ferrari and a tricked out 911. Which one do I drive slowly?
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. Which one do I take down at Asda?
Because both of those amps are completely optimized for clean tones. Okay, I would use the traditional clean for the drive.
Yeah, right.
Because that silver sterling signature is so magnificent. I mean, my friend Jake brought up a 100 watt one and I was in love with it.
Wow.
It's got this thing where it just blooms these clean notes in a way that my classic reverb sig just doesn't do.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the head, the clean in it is, if you want that anywhere between Stevie Ray and John Mayer clean tone, it's way better for that than the CRS.
Amazing.
So I would do it that way around, and I'd use that because, can I say, hand on heart, I think the traditional clean is a little bit flat sounding.
Right.
For me, it's just a bit kind of. So I would want to love that up a little bit.
Okay.
And that's just a personal opinion.
Sure.
Because I'm used to my CRS, which has got loads of hair and.
It's got so much character and personality than
Yeah.
that, but I think the traditional clean is meant to be more of a broad palette
Yeah.
you know, like a really great pedal platform,
Yeah,
all
I mean,
that sort of stuff.
You know, it's unofficially the mayor sound, isn't it? Is what it
Oh,
is.
is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
just
okay.
massive,
Right.
big balls clean. But
Right.
the Silver Sterling signature does it better, in my opinion.
Right.
In my opinion, and maybe I just haven't spent enough time with the trad clean, but yeah, man, that is an embarrassment of riches and a significantly 21st century problem to have, isn't it? Much like the problems that Dan and I face on a daily basis.
Indeed. Indeed.
Congrats. But finally, try it always. You know, you've got all that amazing gear. Try it always and use your ears. That's and you'll find a way that tickles you under the chin sack.
Yeah, indeed. Paul Songe, before he goes to bed, says, thanks so much. Yes, I've seen mixed review on the Game Master 22 from yesteryear. We'll watch the remaining of the episode tomorrow. Got to go to bed. Thanks heaps. Take care.
Take it easy, Paul.
You too, Paul. Cheers, mate.
George Radcliffe.
Hey, George.
He says, I love the gain show, the low gain show.
Thank you, mate.
Can you share any tips or techniques for feeling out my dynamic range experiments? Comparing a 3 single coil Strat for Blues and Americana, low gain OD, Tumnus Deluxe, and a fuzz versus amp drive channel. Okay, so you're saying you've got a Tumnus Deluxe, you've got a fuzz bender, and you've got an amp drive channel. How would you start to listen to those things and just find out, you know, where the love is? I think plug them all in and get them all to sort of point of low breakup.
Well, for me, if you're trying out stuff like that, especially with gain, it's important to be in an environment where you can get the amp to a point where you can feel it.
Yeah.
If you're sat in a room and it's really quiet and
Yeah.
you're trying to make a decision just on frequency and
Yeah.
saturation and
Totally
compression
that.
alone, it's really difficult because at volume everything changes. And I think you get a much better idea of what the pedals are capable of and how they interact with your rig and your guitar.
Yeah.
So the first thing, get to a point where you can get the amp turned up where you can feel something, feel a bit of interaction, then start.
Yeah. Don't think.
Feel.
You've got to do that because that's, as he said, that's where the differences start to come out. Also bloom is a word that's just used so much and it's almost meaningless, but I think what bloom means to me is when you play a note and you let the note do its thing, what then happens is the interesting part for me.
Right.
So the note, the sound is coming out of your speaker, it's reacting with you and the guitar, and it's creating this harmonic thing. Obviously, if you keep pushing the gain and the volume, it's feedback, but it happens way before that. It's a harmonic interplay of everything that's going on. I think that's where you start to feel the biggest differences. And I have watched people demo gear with their head down, playing every note they know as fast as they know, and then doing the next bit of gear, and they're not listening at all because all they're trying to do is play the thing that they know how to play.
Yeah. It's a skill, man, to learn to listen while you're playing. It's a real skill.
And it's horrible. I hate doing it. I flipping hate trying to listen to what I'm playing because I'm not engaging with what I'm playing.
Yeah, totally.
Which is almost why you've got to... Again, it's a personal opinion, but all those things that, you know, blind tests and direct A/B comparisons and all of that, even though we do our fair share of the latter here on TPS, you don't really learn anything until you're in the context of actually playing. That's the tough bit because it all takes time.
Yeah.
Like with the pickups, you know, I'm in the halfway through, struggling through making a vlog on pickups, getting so annoyed about 10 minutes into the playing going, I don't care at this point. I literally don't care what any of these pickups sound like because I don't want to play the guitar because I'm trying to listen to what it sounds like.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Again, I appreciate these are 21st century problems, but, you know, because the guitar's not quite in tune. I'm
Sure.
like, it all sounds crap to me.
Right.
Even though it's like crazy expensive, lovely pickups. So I think you need to play this stuff over a period of time, and you need to be in the moment of being able to enjoy it rather than trying to treat it like some science experiment, which It's great for YouTube videos, but it's not real world,
Yeah.
really.
Tell you who does connect with their playing is Sean Tubbs, who happens to be with us this evening. G'day, mate. Hope you're awesome. We've said it before, we'll say it again. Our favourite YouTube demo guy.
Just and let's not just suggest that Sean only is a YouTube demo guy. Sean plays
He's a serious
professional guitar in many super professional environments.
But we love his demos.
My goodness me. Sean, thank you for the
mate.
inspiration.
Yeah, bud. Thank you so much.
If you don't know Sean, please check him out, Sean Tubbs. Yeah, so how do you do it? I would set all those things up. Just play, man. I know it's not very helpful, is it? Just hold some notes.
Yeah.
And see what happens. And then try and do what Dan did on the video, where I'll do it unamplified so you can get an idea. You know, give it a bit of that difference in
dynamics,
amplitude off your fingers off this guitar gets amplified from like not very many millivolts to lots and lots of
a few more millivolts.
Yeah, but the difference in the dynamic at 50 watts is colossal, and whether you're giving it a one of those things should be really, really distorted, and one of the things should be almost completely clean. And if you can balance each of those things at the point where that happens, that might be. It does resonate nice, this guitar.
Far out, it really does.
That's another thing to try. So, play some stuff here, you know. Listen to that bass, man. The point of that was everything you're trying to hear, hopefully, when you're plugged in, is what does it sound like when the pick's down there and you're playing lightly? What does it sound like here when you're right against the saddle? Those are the things that you'll hear in terms of your dynamic range, which get completely lost if you've got loads of gain and loads of compression. And
I think one of the things of playing at volume is because that's what you'll feel.
Yeah.
Is those dynamics. And some pedals will work with your dynamics better than others. Really hard to make that decision when you can't feel what's going on. There we go. There you go. Awesome, man.
We were talking about string bending today in regards to tuning. Anyway, yeah, so try that. Shatman 2.
Ah, that's funny.
It might not be. Could be a completely straight up Teutonic derived name.
Yeah, no.
Incidentally, I heard Americans help us out here, or North Americans help us out here. I heard a term yesterday on the Truth About Vintage Amps with Skip Simmons and Jason Verlind about Pennsylvania Dutch and other Dutches that were presumably immigrants to the US surely it's Deutsch, as in Germans, like C.F. Martin, who went to Pennsylvania.
Dude, you've completely lost me.
Pennsylvania Dutch describes a group of people, European
Oh, okay, yes.
people who
yes.
left Europe and went to North America.
Yes, the Dutch.
C.F. Martin being one of them, right?
Right.
But where was C.F. Martin from?
I don't know.
It wasn't from the Netherlands. It was Germany.
That's
And
Deutsch. Deutschland.
The German word is Deutsch. So is Pennsylvania Dutch actually Pennsylvania Deutsch? Is that the case? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
Or
I think they're Dutch.
I think they're Germans.
Okay. Let's see.
Anyway.
Bimo says it is Dutch. Deutsch. No, heavens. Yes, they're German. They are of German ancestry.
So it was just a...
And old... So yes, we messed up that name. Yes, German, apparently.
It is.
Yes, we say Dutch in the States. You are correct, Mick.
That is interesting. Just one of those things that gets lost in translation.
Indeed.
Like aluminum. And faucet. And all the wrong words that we have for things. It's funny how the French have no word for rendezvous, isn't it?
Are you serious?
It must be a gag from a film somewhere. It might even be... Anyway, I'm moving on. Don't want to talk about ex-presidents or anything. Right. Shatman 2. Be interested to know if you are Pennsylvania Deutsch. He says, my favourite pedal is the Greer Lightspeed.
Yes.
I picked it up after listening to you guys. And Anderton's, thanks for being such a great resource. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mate, you're so welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really enjoyed the Greer on Fridays, I remember.
It's wonderful.
Greetings from sunny but freezing Nuremberg in Germany, says Hofbert. Yes, okay, so you're leaping straight to the point here, Hofbert. He says, where would you put a germanium Rangemaster and a fuzz face in your chain?
I always put the Rangemaster first, fuzz face second, only because if I ever have them both on, I want the Rangemaster going into the fuzz face and not the other way around. As long as the Rangemaster has a really good true bypass, then you'll be fine.
Interestingly, in the Analog Man
Sun Lion,
it's the other way around, isn't it?
It is.
And I think in the... is the Thorpe one, the Veteran, the other way around as well?
Hang
Don't know.
on. I got it here.
Don't know.
I think so.
I'd have the Rangemaster after, personally.
Oh, it is after.
Yeah. It's just because I can't have anything before me fuzz face.
Ooh, ah. There you go. This is my old... This is a really old pedal that Thorpe did for me. This is a germanium version for Veteran, and it's really awesome. And yes, the treble booster is after. But I've always liked... I have tried both, and I've always got the best results from having the treble booster before. But...
Yeah, try it both ways. See which one you like.
Yep.
Roll the guitar off a bit. See which one you like. Nice problem to have. Matt Lloyd. Hello, Matt.
Hey, mate.
He says, hey, guys. Wondering what each of your go-to wet dry amps are for what you would personally consider to be the perfect clean tone.
The perfect clean tone. Well, I've gone back to using the J20 and the Matchless together. The Matchless is interchangeable with the AC30 depending on the sort of mood I'm in, but I love the...
Not clean enough for me.
Yeah. It is got grit on it. I love the J20 cranked, and I've got to attenuate it a bit, and I roll back a little bit on the volume of the guitar, and it's lovely. I put a bit of wet dry in it. I put the diamond vibrato on one side, and it's just, man alive, it's magical.
I think it depends on volume.
Yeah.
So if you're not playing very loud, deluxe reverb AC15
Yeah, that's really great.
would be lovely, lovely sound. I think I'm getting to the point in life where I prefer, so the kind of, Strat position 2/4 John Mayer sound is a wonderful thing, and it is a beautiful, beautiful clean tone. But I actually think I prefer, if I'm honest. So you ask about 2 amps. One would be a Marshall, either a JTM 45 or a Plexi.
Yeah.
With something like my dear 2-Rock, or indeed like this Fender Bassman here,
Yeah.
with some kind of boost in the game, maybe even a fuzz, and the guitar roll back, so that you're getting this significant buffering happening off the boost or the fuzz, but it's not into overdrive. And I think those are some of the most glorious clean sounds. And I'll just point you towards Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Those clean tones.
Right.
For me, I think at this point in my life are my favourite kind of clean sounds.
Awesome.
Yeah. So amp maybe gained up a bit, or at least with some hair on it. Pedal doing the buffering job, and what that does is when you turn the Strat down, it keeps it bright. I mean, you could do a treble bleed or whatever, but it's a different thing. And if you listen to some of the Jimmy recordings where who knows what he's into, could be a Plexi, could be a dual showman, could be both, and he's got that Strat rolled down, and the fuzz is on because you can flip and hear it.
Yeah.
That to me is that's the place.
Very good.
And Matt says, "Love you, by the way, BV2. We love you too, Matt. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
buddy.
here." Leg ends, Airfire. Ed, how you doing,
Hey,
man?
mate.
He says, "Good to see things back to normal. I've spent the time away with my new Marshall DSL 15. Nice. Haven't even needed to plug the board in. This weekend, May Birth and Epidot also. Very cool.
Fantastic.
Have you seen Monty's Bethnal Green pickups? What are your thoughts?"
So the Bethnal Green pickups, let me get this right, are the Peter Green pickups, the Peter Green set. Yes.
Called Bethnal Green, why?
Because his mum's name was Beth. She broke her fingernails and she loved the green stuff.
That's true.
He was from Bethnal Green.
He's from Bethnal Green. I was at Monty's a couple of weeks ago, actually, and filmed with Mr. Gleason. That video shall be coming out, hopefully.
I watched it today. I learned something about Strats that I didn't know.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
The trem.
Oh, isn't that? I'm like, whoa, mind blown.
I haven't tried it yet. but
Okay, give
yeah.
it. I'm really fascinated to see your take on it.
Yeah.
But it blew my mind that. Yeah, but I tell you what was really interesting. Matt showed me his notebooks. So Matt's lucky enough to work with some players who've got these really amazing vintage guitars who have let Matt check the wire and measure things and take, all that stuff. He has got racks of notebooks filled with all the information that is written about all the different variants on all these different pickups and stuff. And he's found what the ones that sound the best to him have all had a thing.
Yeah.
And that's what are in the Jazzer.
Right.
And they just sound flippin' great.
Did Henry come round?
No.
Wasn't about Henry's.
I'm sure Henry is in there in the mix somewhere. Yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting.
That is very interesting.
But he's, I need to say, super knowledgeable, super analytical, hands-on, trying
Passionate.
to... Yeah, really good.
I would assume, I don't know, the Bethnal Greens are probably with the out-of-phase reverse magnet, whatever it was, so that when you're in the middle position, you get that quacky sound, which is just a flipping great sound. If that is indeed what it is, I'm just assuming that's what it is, kind of what it should be. If you're not familiar with that sound from Peter Green, just listen to some old Fleetwood Mac, you'll hear it. You get that, the out-of-phase sound in the mid position on a Les Paul or a 335 or whatever. Wonderful thing. Be nice to try some actually.
Yeah.
Connor Larkin, hello Connor.
Hello, Connor.
Just picked up a 63 Melody Maker with Lola P90s.
Nice.
I can't put it down. Super light and resonant guitar. Thanks for all the inspiration. Much love.
Excellent. Those melody makers are brilliant.
Totally brilliant. Funnily enough, on the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast yesterday with Jason Verlind and Skip Simmons, one of the episodes they had Joe from Hello Sailor Effects on, and
Oh, wow.
he's a serving person in the Royal Navy.
Wow.
And he was off doing some tour of the Pacific, and his guitar he takes with him is a Melody Maker.
No
early
way.
60s Melody Maker, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's an awesome video of Paul Stacey and Jeremy Stacey playing with Tom Jones on The Tonight Show. And it's just guitar and drums and Tom doing Burning Hell.
But it's such a great video.
And that's a melody maker.
Yeah. Well, it's not unusual, Dan.
No.
It's not, why has this occurred? I think it was on the back of listening to... as I've said many times, I like listening to Greatest Hits radio, and they sometimes play. It's not unusual. Yeah. Really interesting arrangement.
Right.
Yeah, really interesting arrangement. And I was listening to something else yesterday. 60 songs were like all about get to the chorus, get out. Weren't they? Do You Really Want to Hurt Me by Culture Club, which was an 80s song, not a 60s song. They played that on Greatest Hits Radio yesterday. One of the weirdest middle eights in a contemporary pop song I think I can remember.
Right.
Goes into a load of this sort of like dub reggae, out of time delay stuff.
Have you ever watched the Wedding Singer?
I have, with
Okay.
Adam Sandler.
There's a really good version of it on that.
That was when Adam Sandler was in every film ever made. Actually, I think that, to be fair,
That's the greatest guitar player in the world.
that's a South Park thing, wasn't it? Weren't they obsessed with him? Where Cartman suggests loads of films that Adam Sandler could be
Oh,
in.
no. Is it Adam Sandler or is it Rob Schneider? Schneider, derpty, 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 derpty.
Moving on. Glad you like that guitar, Connor. Great. There's something about just a simple slab guitar, right, with not much in it.
Yeah.
There is something about the resonance of one of those things.
My junior.
Yeah. Ask
Ask
Phil X about no neck pickup, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Actually, I don't know if the Melody Maker's got one in or not. No, it will have a neck pickup. Sir Eaton Hogg was knighted for founding Hogswood, a school for pale young boys, says Albus Band. Thanks, Al.
Oh, I didn't know there was a St. Howard. Yes, he was the patron saint of quality footwear.
Sorry, for anyone who doesn't get it, it's a Spinal Tap gag. If you could go back and listen to one artist or album for the first time again, what would it be? Thanks for the ace questions always, Aaron. Thank you so much. Right, so you can go back in time. Oh, I think my knee just popped in a funny direction. If you could go back and listen, actually check out my upcoming vlog where I actually cut off a piece of my finger on film.
Do you?
Yeah, it's totally brilliant. That's what's left of the wound.
Okay.
You actually see the bit of skin fly off. It's totally
Do
awesome.
you do a slow-mo in it?
Maybe I could re-edit it. Anyway, if you could go back in time and listen to one artist or album for the first time again, what would it be? Love you guys. I think our answer is going to be the same.
I don't think another artist has had the same effect on me that the hearing the album for the first time was Grace by Jeff Buckley.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew we'd be aligned on that.
Yeah.
Grace by Jeff Buckley. If you do not own or have not listened to Grace by Jeff Buckley, please do. Please do.
I don't know how many albums I've bought. I've bought and given away and bought and given away and
Me
bought
too.
and given away. Just having to.
I think it might be my favourite album of all time.
My first gift to my wife was Grace.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine got a Porsche 911. What are you talking about? She didn't. Nice. Be interested to know what yours would be.
Yeah.
Aaron.
That's BMO. Rob Schneider as a stapler.
Oh, awesome. I'm sorry if I've missed the name on this. Sorry. Shatman2 says it's S. Chatman.
Oh, okay.
Apologies, S. Kyle Justice says, hello from South Carolina, guys. Mick, are you getting used to the new Strat? Kyle, more than getting used to it. I've bonded with
Stonking.
it.
It's
I've really,
unreal.
really bonded with it, actually. Yeah. Todd Roy says, Mick, this may be heresy to you, but have you trying the new Strat neck that you love on blue?
No. We shan't be doing that anytime
I
soon.
have thought about it, but the body on gold is better. So
Yeah, don't. Please don't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
good.
There's no need to do that. Funnily enough, I'm wondering what to do with old blue because love it as I do, it's going to be hard work going back to that neck because I just cannot. It just feels. Anyway, Eric Koob says Pennsylvania has a huge German immigrant heritage, which is why PA and Philly have huge brewing culture. Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. David Burke says there were lots of Dutch immigrants to the US, though. There's a reason why New York used to be called New Amsterdam. Yeah, good point. And Haarlem is called Haarlem in the Netherlands.
Right.
So yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. I guess lots of Europeans went to the US. There was a great question where a great comment, and I'm really sorry I've lost the name of who said it. Says that BV signature pedal will be an always on noise gate.
Very nice.
Bravo.
Very nice.
Bravo. And apologies.
Very good.
Yeah. Danish Pete genuinely was asked, given that his name is Danish Pete, where he comes from. Was it Daneland?
That's Pete Laird.
Yeah. Joel Tosty says, "I'll take blue off your hands, Mick." This will sound amazing. I have thought about selling it actually, because I need to raise some funds for something. But I don't think it wouldn't be right to sell that guitar probably.
No.
But it would be wrong to keep it and not play it.
I understand that.
Because you love this guitar and it is a fantastic guitar.
Yep.
And it's your guitar.
It is.
And in many ways, blue is my guitar, but
there's no question that gold has got. I don't say better guitar, but I'm going to say a better guitar.
It is a better guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, like Transit Van and the Mayer Strat. You know, they've all got a thing, and blue's got a thing.
Well, here's heresy. I would keep Transit Van over blue.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But again, the neck's just too small for me, so it might be that Transit Van goes as well.
Right.
I don't think blue's going to go, to be honest. I think Transit Van might. Because what I had planned for Transit Van may get mitigated by an event this week.
Aha. We shall see.
Let's move along.
Yeah.
I'm on a 2-knob tone quest. There's a word for that, isn't there?
That pedal show.
No, 2 knobs. Says Mr. Avia. It's by Ping something or other. It does actually happen.
It's a 2-knob tone quest.
Okay, everyone. Let's have a little intermission and laugh at knob jokes, shall we?
Sorry.
Come on, mate. It's not Anderton's.
I thought it was really funny. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Dan said it's like that pedal show because there's 2 knobs sitting here.
It's on a tone quest.
Yeah. I think it's fair enough. Anyway, Mr. Avia is on a 2-knob tone quest. SG Junior into an MXR Distortion Plus into a Fender Pro Junior. Glorious tones. Was there ever a time where gear limitations yielding surprising results for your playing? Thank you.
Always.
Says Ms. Always.
The limitations is the key to exploration. There you go. Oh.
Now, hardly 2 knobs, but that's what the pedal board ended up as for the gig I did. There's a vlog coming on it. And it's made me go, you know what, maybe simpler. Because I think we go through it, right, in our lives. More complex, simpler, more complex, simpler. And it's okay. It's good to ride the wave of that, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like, this is, I've decided this and it shall be this way forever.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's not
totally.
that. It's like, I'm going to do that this week.
Yep. And
maybe
sometimes
for the
it'll
next 3
be...
months.
And the other thing is, as your playing develops, you'll find you want different things tonally, you know, and it's a journey.
One thing, so gear limitations. Check out this Fender Bassman, which actually has 2 12-inch speakers in it. It was a custom shop bass breaker from the early 2000s.
Got to use that tomorrow.
Crank that up today.
Flippin' heck.
And that's one of those amps where you go, you know what? Assuming the world hadn't descended into a volumeless cesspit of unhappy guitar playing, that could be just a wonderful thing. Dan is now examining the 2 Celestion Vintage 30 speakers
Yeah.
in
So
the rear of the Fender bass breaker.
I was just seeing if there was, so 2 4 ohms in parallel, giving 2 ohms.
They each go into their own speaker input in the,
Right.
which is what bassmans used to do apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. Skip says each of the speaker outs had the hot wire, but only one has the ground wire, and they were all screwed down tight to the chassis, which
And that
gave
was
the
the
ground
ground.
for all of it.
Yeah.
So you got to know that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. And following on from your SG Junior, exactly that. 1 pickup guitars. There's just something about them
Yep.
that's endlessly cool.
Yep. Totally.
Jeffrey Raddick. Hello, Jeffrey. You gents inspired me to buy a new high headroom amp. I almost got a Victory V140 Super Duchess, but the price tag was too much. Instead, I got a V4 the Duchess pedal and a Wampler Pantheon Deluxe and an SG.
Nice. Oh, very nice.
It does. Make sure you run. If by V4 the Duchess you mean the 180 watt thing that's about that big, make sure you get, if you can, try and find a 4 ohm speaker for it,
Right.
because you get more headroom out of it on a 4 ohm speaker than you will
A lot more.
on a 16
Yeah,
ohm
yeah,
speaker.
a lot more.
So try that. I was astounded at the difference
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. Good luck, Jeffrey.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Wyatt Knox, leg ends. Can you speak about the Les Paul quest? I've been through 8 or 10 now and I haven't found the one. If you were looking for a great Les Paul, where would you start? Thanks and rock on.
Okay. Took me 4 years to find this guitar.
I have a more depressing answer.
Primarily because love the sound of a great Les Paul, but it had to sit with my telly. And this guitar is lovely and bright and clear and it's beautiful. And I was really happy with this guitar up until the day that the Gold Top arrived here. I still love this guitar.
Does a different thing.
Yeah, it does. The thing it does is not as good as that.
That does the Jimmy Page thing.
Oh, wow, okay.
That guitar does the Jimmy Page thing. This does the light and airy
Oh,
vintage
the
Les Paul
vintage Les
thing.
Paul thing. Okay, yep.
Not that Jimmy Page's wasn't a vintage Les Paul, of course.
Right.
So the answer is go into the shop, pick the most expensive ones there are. So Custom Shop, Murphy's and all that. And pick the lightest one. That will be the best sounding one in the shop. To my ears. Plenty of other people out there who really know Les Pauls prefer slightly heavier. And maybe that doesn't make any difference at all. Maybe it's all about the pickups.
That's Sean Tubbs, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, there you
Sorry,
go.
Sean, totally nicked that off you. Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, I gave up too. I was looking for one for ages and just couldn't find one at the right combination of price and lovability.
Yeah.
I could find plenty collector's choices, top end of the custom shop, like 6, 7, 8 grand ones that I liked, but I couldn't find a 2, 3, 4 grand one that I was as happy with.
Yeah.
Which is not to say they're not good guitars. It's about what you connect with personally. And again, let's talk about cognitive bias. There's probably quite a lot of that.
Totally.
Like if I found the best Les Paul in the whole world and it was metallic purple,
Couldn't do it.
bad example. Let's rewind a bit from metallic purple. Don't tell Pete, purple is actually my least favourite colour of any colour. Let's say it was, I don't know, puce. I wouldn't have it because it doesn't look right.
Mm.
And that's a straight cognitive bias right there. So
Yep.
it's not all
No, I get
about
that.
tone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's about aesthetic.
I loved my Flying V. It was one of the most amazing guitars I've ever played until I saw myself in the mirror with it. And I'm like, you cannot pull that off, young man. There's no way.
Because we're all obsessed with what people think of us, right?
I just thought I looked like a doofus.
No, you thought other people would think you look like a doofus.
No, I looked at that and I thought, doofus. I looked at the guy in the mirror and said, you look like a doofus.
See, I looked at you. That picture was your Facebook picture, wasn't it, for a minute? I was
Right.
like, rock god. That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, I thought doofus. You can't pull that off. So I sold that to get this.
Yeah. More helpfully, Wyatt. Oh, God. There's so much personal preference involved in this. It's really hard to offer anything useful. I actually think if you find a good modern standard, I do think the standards that they've made since old, what's his name, took over, JC, some of those guitars can be really good. The SGs are particularly good, actually. And it might be that if you find one that you like the feel of and it plays great, whipping out those standard pickups, putting in... I don't know what the wiring and all of that is in the modern ones, but certainly for a long time, the basic middle-of-the-range Les Paul standard had like crazy powerful pickups and modern wiring, and which is all good. It fueled a whole generation of sounds.
Yeah.
But if what you want is the more vintagey type tones, pulling those pickups out, putting a really great set of PAF styles in there, 50s wiring, some decent caps, actually I think you could end up with a really, really lovable guitar.
Yeah.
There for a couple of grand instead of, Jesus, what, the Murphys now?
No, don't.
I mean, you can buy a new Les Paul Murphy aged for £9,000, let alone a collector's choice one. So they've gone crazy money.
Yeah.
Insane money. Anyway, good luck.
Good luck, mate.
Mark Lavinish, are there any 3-channel amps for wet, dry, wet in one enclosure for a one-stop shop? Any suggestions for someone who doesn't want to buy 3 amps?
Get
AC30 has at least 3 channels, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they're not separate.
No?
You can't do a wet, dry, wet because you'd have to have 3 separate power amps
Yeah.
to do it because they've got to be separate. They can't mix.
Yeah.
So get 3 AC30s and tape them together and you'd be done.
Simon, there's a guy called Simon in Sherborne in Dorset who is fixing my Lone Star and Hayden's AC30. Hayden helps out in that pedal show shop. Hayden's got an AC30 that needs fixing. My Lone Star needs fixing. The reverb's dead in it. And so Simon in Sherborne is doing it. And
Right.
Simon's got this really cool little shop at the top of, is it Gold Street? I went to school in Sherborne. Not to Sherborne School, but I went to school in Sherborne. And I remember this TV shop by the bus stop in the top of Sherborne town. And that was Simon's dad or Simon's granddad, can't remember who. He's still in there, repairing TVs and stuff. But also, I walked in there, he's got all this old hi-fi,
Wow.
which he does. And just like walk in there, it's like, oh man, like valve monoblocks.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, he's fixing the amps. Why am I talking about this? Cause in there, he's got a Sound City 120 PA head, which is like a 120 watt valve 6-channel thing.
Yep.
So as Dan says, the power amp's the same, so it's not true wet, dry, wet, but you would get 6 channels of awesomeness.
There's a panning on there?
Yeah.
So you get stereo.
You get stereo,
But
yeah.
you would have to get another one for the centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost was thinking about buying it because it will be like a, I think he said there's 8 6L6s in there or something like that.
Right. So 100 watts each side.
Something like that, yeah.
But epic.
Anyway, DS Radlet. Good luck, Mark.
Yeah,
DS
good luck,
Radlet. Any thoughts or feelings about the Rocket Blue Note? Says DS Radlet.
Oh, yeah. So Rocket had a series, and including the Blue Note, they had a Holdsworth pedal as well. And also Tim Pierce had a signature pedal. Really fantastic series. And actually the Holdsworth pedal is stonking.
Do you know we've got one in the cupboard out there?
What?
The Holdsworth pedal.
No.
True story.
Wow, okay. Then I shall be grabbing that. Yeah, the Blue Note was fabulous.
More gain than a typical tube screamer, capable of multiple tones.
Yeah, but it also had a bass control, is that right?
Has.
Yeah.
Current.
It's current. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
Tone, fat, volume, gain, hot. Woodsy blues overdrive, more gain than a typical tube screamer. Newly added hot switch, multiple tones. Hot switch adds more gain, more volume, and gooses the low mids. Can run flat in its EQ selection or more prominent mids. Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Really great pedals they are.
Yeah, certainly sounds good on paper. Everything they make is awesome. Chris and Jay tapped into just some spectacular players, and I haven't heard Jay play, but I've heard Chris play. He's a pretty damn good guitar player as well.
Who's the guy there that was demoing their stuff with a 335?
Ford Thurston.
Ford Thurston. He was
Yeah.
man alive.
You can stick him in a bag with Sean Tubbs and Tom Bukovac and just like, you guys get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't need to hear you anymore. I need a reason to get up in the morning.
Get out of here. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, just like monster.
Yep.
Wonderful. The kind of playing that hits me right in the feels. Yeah. Nice. So our feelings on paper are good, although we've never played one, so hard to say.
No, I played one years ago because I had one and they're great.
I'm laughing at Mike2203 fan. Hello, Mike. Mike came to our first experience day. Mike says, hi, DNM. I just got my second 2061X to do wet dry. Nice. Nice one, Mike. He says, have you played Heritage guitars? Are they as good as Gibson's? They look very similar. Yeah, the story with Heritage is I don't know, when Gibson moved from Kalamazoo to wherever it moved to, Nashville presumably, I think a bunch of the people stayed
In Kalamazoo,
and became Heritage, I think is the story. Apologies if that's not quite right. But there's a connection with old Gibson and Heritage. And Addison sell Heritage guitars. I've played some great, same as Gibson, I've played some really great ones and some really not great ones.
Right.
Like every guitar company. But I think they're made in a very traditional way by people who really care about it. So yeah, why not?
Yep.
I'm always nervous about those sort of sweeping statements that say things like, this brand is better than this brand. You know, pound for pound, I think we could say Anderson is probably better than Squire. But, you know, and in a sort of objective quality mode. But that's not to say you might not pick up a Squire and be totally inspired to want to play it.
Totally.
And be left totally cold
Yeah.
by some $5,000 Anderson because it's not the kind of guitar you like. So always a bit nervous about trying to say that one brand is, you know, equal or better than another. They make great guitars in a really traditional way. No reason whatsoever why it wouldn't be a great guitar that you would love.
Yep.
I think is a fair way to say it.
Yep. Totally.
I see everything twice. Just wanted to give a shout out to my favourite Ukrainian band, Okian Eltsy. Cheers, Legends. Love the show on Friday.
Awesome.
Well, let's hope Oki and Elsie are able to continue doing their thing with whatever happens next. Sub Rosa, have you guys had much experience with the 1 and 9/16 nut width that Gibson used from the mid-60s through the late 70s? What are your thoughts? Indeed, we have.
Ah.
Now, hang on, let's get this right. Is a 1 and 11/7/16 thin or fat? Because 11 So, on a proper acoustic guitar, the nut width is 1.75 inches.
Right. And what's this one? 1.75.
1 and 11/16. Why not metric? Why not metric? Why not divide things by 10? It's so much easier.
16ths. 1 and 7.5.
1.75, which is in 16ths, would be... oh, that's easy, isn't it? Because 16 goes into quarters quite nicely. So that would be 1 and 12/16.
Right. And the other one's 1 and 11/16.
Yeah, so 1 and 11/16 is wider than this. Much wider than this.
1 and 12/16 is wider, obviously.
Yeah, but 1 and 3/4 nut width is wide. It's much wider.
It's 1 and 3/4 is 1 and 12/16. So, and this is what 1 11/16.
No, this isn't. This is really narrow.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah, but the 11/16 is narrower than the 12/16.
Yeah, but there's no electric guitar necks that are that wide.
Okay.
Sorry,
all
I'm
right.
confusing things.
Okay.
I'm going to get a measuring device.
Okay. But that's narrow, right?
It is.
Yeah. Let's see.
That wasn't a polka.
Just in case anyone, we had a few people asking about this. You know why the super chats turned off? Because it takes a long time to answer the super chats. We know that if we got about 10 or 15 minutes to take super chats in before we have to turn them off, so that we can take a couple of hours to answer them all. If we don't turn them off soon, then we're here for ages and ages. But we are going to do it one night where we're going to do an all-nighter, have a couple of beers, get some sleeping bags in, and maybe have an hour of super chats before we turn them off, and we'll just go through the night. It'd be hilarious. Yes. So here we go. 11/16 is 0.6875 inches. Yes.
That helps.
Yeah. Gordon Ranking says only 1/16 wider, but it makes a huge difference. Yeah. So what's that one?
This is about 1 and 8/16.
Wow.
That's 1.5. 1.5 inches. So that's narrow.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's anything that has to do with nut width or fretboard width or any of that stuff. The smallest, they may sound tiny and incremental, but they really make a big difference.
8, 9. None the wiser, really.
Okay.
I can't be doing 16ths, man.
No.
42.6 millimeters. Ish. Why would you divide by 16
I
and
don't
32?
know. I know,
Why don't you
I
divide
know.
by 10?
I know.
Christ.
That's not his fault.
He definitely measured in metric. Sub Rosa.
Subracer.
Oh yeah, have we had any much 1 in the 9/16? I do know people that really like wide nuts. I certainly, on my acoustic guitars, I like 1 3/4, which is 1 and 75/100ths. Just it's 1 in 150/200ths.
Very good.
Yeah, that's probably BV saying, please stop talking about this. No. Yeah, as Gordon quite rightly points out, just small incremental differences on the width of the nut can make a huge difference.
Huge difference.
And actually, you can be thrown out quite a lot by the shape of it as well. There was quite a lot of necks from that period which had a fairly distinct rounded C profile. So if you've got a very wide neck which has got a lot of shoulder, and by shoulder we mean as it sort of comes off where where the ends of the nut are, if there's quite a lot of wood on the first bit going back and then it flattens off, that can make, to me anyway, that can make the neck feel a lot wider than if it's just a straight C profile where you get more depth because you've got more wood in your hand if it's deeper. So yeah, tough, innit? I don't know.
Yeah. Just know that everything makes a difference.
Yeah.
That stuff especially.
I got married last month, says Andrew McNeil.
Oh, congratulations, mate. Well done.
Congrats.
It's a good thing.
It. Chris Groom.
Hey, Chris.
Here's some money for more internet. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
I did have a bit of a muck about today with everything. Paul Matulovic. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Bondi is benching the breakers due to shortages. So I was watching demos and came across your video with Matt at Pedal Empire. Sincerest thanks for not just setting it to Tube Screamer and having a play. Yeah. I think there's lots of companies struggling at the moment with component shortages.
Don't, please. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Right, what are your thoughts on the Cornerstone Antique version 2 and the new Yamaha Revstar 2022, says Vinoth Kumar. I haven't played the Antique version 2 from Cornerstone.
No.
We like the Gladio very, very much.
Gladio's wonderful.
So if it's made to the same standards and with the same love that the Gladio is, no doubt it's pretty good.
Yep.
Revstar 2022, I don't know what they've changed. I know Chris was on Anderton's and they'd done a demo.
Right. Chris really likes them and he plays them beautifully.
He wouldn't play them if he didn't like them.
No. And he really likes them. I find them a little bit... I was looking at buying an old Yamaha SG. Someone had one for sales, because I've always wanted one, but I just didn't have the fund vouchers available at the time. And I wanted to... I thought, have a look at the Revstar. I was actually... They did the launch of those guitars at Abbey Road, and I was there. And, and they're really great guitars. I don't know, whether it was they were just a bit weighty or something for me. Yeah. So I didn't connect with them, but when you hear
it's hard to deny Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, he also Matteo
Sasato?
No, he's busy up north somewhere. He's a fingerstyle player. There's this young guy, and he plays them.
Oh, right.
He is unbelievable. I'll have to... Someone will remember his name. I think he's Spanish.
Mateo Potato?
No. You
Mashed
say
potatoes.
Mateo. I say Masato. Hello, beautiful girl. Hello, beautiful girl. I know.
Dog attack.
I know.
Hello, Rosie. What are you up to? What are you up to, silly Billy? Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Scott Copeland. Following the revival around Dodd pedals triggered by Josh Scott. Okay, right, chill out, man. Chill out, Rosie. No, careful. I've rediscovered my FX50. What a great sound. Any love for Dodd? Thanks for the awesome comment.
Yeah. Dodd's great.
DOD, I guess, were more widely called in the US. DOD.
Yes.
We called him Dodd here. 250 overdrive preamp. I like some of the later stuff as well.
Yeah.
They ended up being owned by Harman along with Digitech.
Right.
I believe. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it's such a killer brand.
Yeah. I had an old DOD chorus big box one, magic sounding thing. Yeah, great.
Yeah, claws, Les Paul.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll put it down, shall
She's
I?
like, I like
I'll
Les
have a
Pauls.
cuddle. Hang
I
on.
like Les Pauls, Dan.
Hang on, darling.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What would Rosie play?
I know. Let's have a cuddle. Come on.
Feed My Bongos.
Come on. Come on. Yeah.
Feed My Bongos wants to know. Bonsoir, Leggins. Just bought a Squire, a classic vibe 60s Esquire. It looks great,
I know.
but it gets me right in the ear hole. Not
Right
in a
in
good
the ear
George Clinton sort of way. Is the Esquire unusually trebly compared to others?
It's a different thing, the Esquire.
It is.
Yeah. It's the difference of...
Oh, you're honoured, mate. The pause around the neck is
Yeah. She wants to
very,
cuddle with
very
Uncle Dan.
few people get that.
No, she wants to cuddle.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Uncle Dan.
yeah.
Hello, baby. Yeah, so the Esquire's a different thing. Nothing rocks like an Esquire. They are fierce.
Yeah.
But you know, you have listened to
Billy Gibbons.
Billy Gibbons on an Esquire, something else, but also Alan Hines on his Esquire.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
There's-
And that just gives you an idea of the scope of tones that you can get out of an Esquire out of that single pickup.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
There's a couple things.
Yes,
There's a couple things you can do. One is you have a built-in bite roller offer with the tone control.
Yeah.
So definitely try that. Dan being the exception. Most telly players I know on the bridge pickup with medium gain sounds have that down to about 7 or 8.
Do they?
We'll get a whole load of people saying, "No, I've never done it. What are you talking about?" But it is a common thing. If you find that rolls too much mud off, what you can do, rolls too much mud on, what you can do is replace the capacitor with a smaller value. So if, for example, there's a 0.047 tone cap in there, if you change that to a 0.022 or a point even smaller than that, it will only roll the very high stuff off and not quite so much of the high mids. That can be one way to do it. The other thing is, one of the great things about a telly is that heavy overdriving, once you get those treble frequencies, overdriving is where it really shines. Red is a flipping right in the ear hole, super strident, incredibly trebly guitar. But the reason it sounds so great is because what happens is into an amp that's just on the edge, they start compressing and overdriving.
Yeah.
So you just need to give it a bit of love in that respect, or just use a tone control, just roll it back. You get some great... It can get very humbuckery, actually, about halfway down
Right.
with a bit of gain.
Interesting.
Yeah. Enjoy. Cool guitar. Paul Matulovic. Are there any stateside brands you're itching to try but can't get? I figured I'd bring any over I might have for the experience day. Coming to see us,
awesome,
That's
Paul.
really cool. I know you said Caroline in the past, but have you heard of farm pedals? Haven't heard of farm pedals. To be honest, pretty much anything that's available in the US is available here.
Yeah, we don't suffer from that too much.
It might be that they're not widely distributed here, so retailers don't sell them, but usually people will send us stuff if we ask for stuff.
Yeah.
Just trying to think if there is anything.
I'd like to try some Pettyjohn stuff out
Yeah.
at some point. But yeah, not a heap that we haven't.
Looking forward to seeing you, Paul.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be great.
Tratis wants to know, any good fuzz pedals for tellies into AC15s?
All of them.
Union Tube and Transistor Tour Bender.
So good. Thorpe's new the Boneyard.
Yeah. Thorpe Boneyard.
I love my Analog Man Sunface. Magic thing.
Mythos Golden Fleece.
Mythos Golden Fleece is great. What would you... The Chupacabra
Yeah.
is not really a fuzz. It's more of a
Heavy overdrive.
heavy overdrive, but it can do that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a Telecaster and that thing's magic.
You're a lucky boy, Dan.
I am a lucky
You've
boy.
got a fairly calm spaniel there.
Yeah, she's so lovely.
Yeah, so I would go, personally, for me, Fuzzface never quite right into an AC15 personally. I'd
Right.
much rather hear a tone bender.
Yeah. So the reason being is because because the tone bender takes care of a lot of the sort of sub bottom end frequencies that you can get with the, take your Strat into a fuzz face into a Marshall. It beefs up that low end from the Strat anyway. Can we get down, Dylan? And then, it's a magic thing, right? But with an AC15, it's not going to take any more of those. Yeah. It's not going to amplify any more bottom end frequencies that you push into it, and it'll mud up. But where the tone bender shines, it's the same reason that people love tone benders for humbucker guitars is because it doesn't have those sub frequencies to the at the same level as the normal fuzz face. That input transistor, this like an emitter follower buffer circuit, sorts a lot of that out, and it just they work magic with humbuckers and into smaller powered amps. Yeah, really, really great.
I've got the dog out. I think she might need a wee. Do you need a wee? Need to hurry up? Rosie. You could save yourself so much trouble by looking at the Mythos Golden Fleece. One knob, awesome. I see you're in Sweden. Andersons do some Scandinavian pedals, I think from a brand called Fjord, it might be.
Right.
Check those out as well. Might be, in terms of accessibility, might be a little bit easier than American stuff. Don't know. Right, Rosie, come on, you've got to go out. If you're going to... You can't be doing a wee in here.
Yeah. That
what are you talking about?
wouldn't be awesome.
Go on then, where's Mummy? Come on, where's Mummy? Come on, Rose. Good girl. Go find Mummy.
Oh, this is interesting. Manos1710 says, your opinion on stainless steel frets on a Stratocaster. Greetings from Athens, Greece. So the experience that I had when I changed the frets on red, I went to thicker frets, and it became really zingy.
Yep.
That's the same experience I have when I play stainless steel frets.
Yeah. So depending on where you come from ideologically, there are lots of people out there who believe that the only thing that makes any difference on an electric guitar is the pickup. Dan had red refretted, and out came 6105s and in went 6100s. 6100s being sort of bass frets, I guess, bigger frets. And red, being a very trebly guitar, came back as an even treblier one, and we thought we were hearing things.
Yeah.
We were like, maybe we've become unaccustomed to it, but there was absolutely no doubt that guitar was significantly more trebly.
It was causing issues
with more fret wire. So he had it refretted back again with 6105s, and it went back to being red again. So it follows that we're going to say that fret material and mass has a audible effect on the sound of the guitar. So from a wear point of view, stainless steel frets are completely awesome.
Magic.
As long as you get someone who can really work them.
Yeah. That's the issue, isn't it? Because they're really tough.
Oh, they're hard to work on. Yeah. I mean, I say that like I know what I'm talking about. Guitar repairers tell me they're hard to work on.
Yeah.
Do you like the sound of them is the next question. And if you do, go for it.
Yeah.
Hey Legends, thanks for another great show on Friday. Quick shout out to David Barber of Barber Electronics.
Yes.
His limited circuit, LTD, is about as transparent a drive as they come. And no, I'm not afraid to use the T word. Especially in this case, says Bill Barfoot.
Yeah.
Loads of people mentioning the LTD.
Yeah. His...
Limited, I don't know.
That's the Barber Tone Press. And his compressor as well was like one of the first compressors out there with the blend control. He's super creative, great, really wonderful designer. We need to get some Barber stuff.
Andre Sigurd says, greetings, ankles. My handmade valve amp, 30 watts, 212X7s, has two JJ6L6s. I'm going to swap them out because they started rattling. I'm eyeing Tongue Sol STRs, 6L6 GC STRs. What are your thoughts? Every Fender amp I have ever had rattles.
Right. Wow. Interesting.
And it's almost like when you plug it in, it doesn't rattle. I'm like,
That's interesting. Wow.
And I've never really realised that it's the tubes rattling. Is it the tubes rattling? what else is going to rattle? Well, apart from obvious things like the chassis and all that.
Yeah, but if it's a combo and the whole amp is vibrating, then they can rattle because they're this mass that's hanging from the chassis. But if they're in tight and you've tightened up the clamps and things, they shouldn't rattle.
Sounds like something to experiment on.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what's rattling. Something's rattling.
Tungstiles are great.
Won't be the tube sockets, will it? Because they're being tensioned by the pins being in there.
No, it shouldn't be the tube sockets, but there should be a little, depending on what year it is.
Maybe
some sort of
the percussionist has stored some stuff in there.
Right.
He's put his cabasa
He has.
and his wind chimes in there. And that bit of wood that goes...
Hang on. Yeah. And the wind cries.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry to be flippant about it. Don't know.
Oh, so Dan Crow says, Dave Friedman says he doesn't like combos because of the rattling.
Because the rattling, yeah.
Lots of Fenders are combos.
I think play louder so the rattling is not audible.
Yeah, I agree. And see, I like combos for that reason because I like the interplay of the rattling into the chassis. And I mean, I think it all works together.
Any pros or cons, says Eric Bernson, any pros or cons of compensated brass telly saddles that are slanted barrels versus string guide and sharper brake angle? Right, so we got slanted barrel saddle, which is slanted because it's compensated for intonation, and some have string grooves cut in them, I think is what you're saying, and sharper brake angle. So are we saying, what about telly saddles that have sharper brake angle, grooves for things, or are compensated?
Right. Here we go.
I bought these ones and they work. That's going to be my contribution to this discussion. These are the Callahan most expensive ones they do model.
Right.
Compensated, no string guide, antiqued to look old.
Yep. These are the Fender Custom Shop compensated brass ones, right? And have a look at how big they are.
I'll play some background music for you, Dan.
That'd be great. Now this is a 65 with the screw thread bridge. And this is the tungsten compensated
Titanium.
sorry, not tungsten, titanium.
Titanium.
Who are they by? Titanium. Who are they by, these ones?
They're by...
KTS.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No, Dan, they're by...
Right. So, the difference. My favourite sounding ones are the steel screw, but I break strings on those. The closest I've heard to the sound of those are these titanium ones. But it all depends on the guitar as well, because the brass ones on the maple neck telly sound and work brilliantly. You need to watch that the brake angle isn't too much, because you've got to remember that the strings are coming from underneath the body straight up and straight over. So you've got to make sure that you're getting if the brake angle's too much, you're going to start breaking strings, which I've done loads.
That was good.
Yeah.
I think it was Hans Zimmer calling. Wants me to play on his next movie score. Oh, make the tea, he said.
Hans Zimmer fan.
Yeah. Dan knows more about telly saddles than I do. That's why I just bought the most expensive Callahan ones.
And they're great.
Yeah.
All I would say is just if it's a maple neck tally, the big round brass ones can sound great. They didn't work on red. The best sounding ones I found were these tungsten ones.
But it's only the pickups that make a difference in electric
It is
guitar.
only, nothing else matters.
So just get a bit of old
Nothing
wood.
else matters.
Actually, don't get wood. Get something safe like glass or... Sorry, right, come on. More professional.
How we doing?
More professionalism. Tom Vreezy is on. Verzi.
Hey,
Verzi.
Tom.
Might be Verzi, might be Verzi. Hello, Tom. Thank you for your question. He says, great show last Friday, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, no question. He says, Dan, your playing was really nice and seems to be evolving in a new direction.
It's a new direction. Hope you like this.
He wrote this.
He wrote this. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I am having a go. I can't do what he does, so I've got to do something interesting.
Well, likewise. In fact, I can't do what he does, so I have to do something not interesting.
No, I heard a video today. It's a video of Mick playing when he was younger. And everyone's playing, everyone sounds great. Mick plays one note, and it's like, there he is.
Just louder than everyone else, Dan.
No, but it's just not, that's not
what
it.
they don't teach you at guitar
No,
school.
no.
Just be louder than everybody else.
If you've got that thing that you can't learn. So anything that I play can be learned.
No, I agree. Tom, it's very kind of you to say Dan has been definitely putting the hours in and the woodshedding. You played some jazz guitar in here the other day for a vlog that's upcoming, and I was like, oh my God, that does actually sound like jazz.
Yeah.
Woodshedding. Like proper jazz, not like most of us
That's not just. Can you
muck
turn
about.
that down, please? I'm trying to have a conversation.
Like actual right chords jazz. Well, wrong chords, obviously.
But thank you very much. That's very kind. That's very kind. I'm having a go.
Benjamin Salinas. He says, I have a 63 Bandmaster. Whoa.
Nice.
That was modded to hold 4 power tubes and a new output transformer, bringing it to 80 watts, but I don't know what the output transformer impedance is. How do I find the impedance, the ohmage? I don't know.
It's, well, do you know what the output transformer is? I mean, you know, there should be specs of it.
Yeah,
but
might
you
be
can
something written on
also,
it.
yeah, you've got to be really careful with anything in that power section. You can, if you get everything unplugged and take the valves out, then you might have to take the output transformer, then you can measure the windings. But if you could find what the output transformer is, there will be tech specs for it that tell you exactly what it is, and what there'll be certain taps off it. Yeah. Good luck.
Completely stupid, potentially stupid question. You couldn't just plug a speaker jack in and measure something. No, because it would have to be running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Told you it was a stupid question.
No. There's no such thing as stupid questions.
It would have to be running, and you don't want to do that because your amp will fail and you may die.
There is a way that you can test it, but it's got to be out of the circuit.
Yeah.
As soon as there are things in the circuit,
Put in a question to the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast
they'll
with
be able to
Skip
help you out.
Simmons and Jason Verlind, and I would imagine that would be the kind of question Skip would enjoy. After telling you about his latest potato recipe this week.
Really?
And some kind of hot sauce that they like. There's some kind of tomato sauce they like.
Nice.
Sorry, tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce.
Lucas Suarez says, I got a JM Strat. Thanks for all the inspiration.
Lovely.
Was it Juliana Moore?
The Julianne Moore Strat.
Yeah.
The John Malkovich Strat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Julius Misa.
Very good.
I think it's John's sister, isn't it? Joan Mayer. Nice one. What colour? I'd be interested to know what colour. I got a Cypress Mica one that might end up getting sold at some point. The trouble is with this guitar. See, now this has got a wider nut width.
I love that guitar.
It only plays one thing though.
And it plays it really well though.
Oh no, not there. Yeah. It's a nice guitar this actually. You like this one, don't you?
I love that guitar. I've always loved that guitar.
Nice. Thin headstock. String guide moved further down so we could do this. Did you know that?
No? So move the string off. Oh, interesting. Okay.
And proper thin headstock.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right here. Okay. Nice.
My shoes are squeaking. If it sounds like I'm blowing off, it's my shoes are squeaking. True story.
Shoes.
Dog isn't in here to blame. Bobby Dorrance again. Bobby,
Hello,
I
Bobby.
think you almost kicked us off. Bobby, you can kick us into the street. He says, no, we had the same question. It's the same question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how do you decide about adding a pedal versus turning the amp up? I believe
Okay,
we
we've
answered
covered that
that
in great
earlier.
detail.
So, yes, good. Yes, good. What colour is that Strat, says Wade. The John Mayer one is called Cypress Mica Metallic. He made it up. The red one, red, I'm looking at red. The gold one is Fire Mist Gold. And those are the only two Strats we've had on tonight. Yeah. Good. All right. Thanks, everyone. Jeff McCurlin's on. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hope you're doing well. Groovy. No meat feast tonight, Dan?
No.
Dan's going home. I feel bereft. And a little
By the
sad.
end of tomorrow, you'll be glad.
Okay, play us out then, Dan. Give me a major seventh.
Major 7th. Where would you like it?
Not
Play
there.
there. Play there.
I like the one that looks like E major but isn't.
Oh, what, here?
Where you play like a if you play a bar chord like most of us know how to play.
Right. That one.
Yeah. That's my favourite major
Oh,
seventh.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. That's a really nice one. I like
That one.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice, but you do it the first inversion is really nice as well.
Too tricksy.
I like Trixie.
You're out the band.
Then you do second inversion.
No.
And but the third inversion is really nice as well. So it starts with the major 7th. It's time to go.
Goodbye. Bless out, Dan. Your hat matches your guitar.
Nothing is an accident.